The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
Myrtle Beach Speedway. We are LSRTV and we are live tonight with a whole lot of action on the schedule for you tonight. I'm Chris Murdoch. Joining me in the booth will be Evan joining us later on, and Cisco down in the production trailer. Trevin, got a whole lot of action planned here tonight. As I just said, what are you expecting here tonight? We got like 5 races up on deck here tonight and a lot of great talent.
A lot of great talent, absolutely, throughout the field, especially in the late model division. We have 5 series going on tonight, as you said, all short races, so they're not going to have a lot of stuff done. So I'm expecting some hard charging to the front and some great battles out in this series tonight. As we start off with the late model division, we're going to see a lot of cars, 22 cars battling it out for 35 laps in 2 twin races, one right now and then one later on in the night, and that's just going to be a fantastic spectacle to see.
Yeah, a lot of familiar races on deck here tonight. A lot of what we've seen last week. Like you mentioned, the Blue Ridge Napa late model is going to be starting us off here tonight for a 35-lap feature. Then we got the Charger division, street stocks, super trucks, and then another late model division race, and capping it off will be U-Car. So a lot of action here tonight, as I have said. It's looking crazy, and you know, Ellison, we got the late model division under qualifying right now, getting ready to get on tap. Trevin got a lot of drivers out there raring to go, and some pretty fast cars in qualifying, and some familiar names we've seen up here in the top 5.
Absolutely, the 69 of Matt Cooker, absolutely a familiar name. As we look at the points, Matt Cooker out in front, leading the points with 280 points, following behind him Christian Peterson with 274 points. It's a very close race for the top about 3 spots, and then you have Tommy Ryan behind him with minus 55 points. So we're going to be expecting to see more races throughout the season and more close racing. It's going to only get more intense as the season wears on, and we're going to have some great racing on tap today.
We really are, and you mentioned it, Christian Peterson, Matt Cooker, those are the 2 that have been up front ever since the season took the green flag, and I don't expect them to let us down. Jeremy Adams also won, and even Connor Blaze, who's been making a few appearances up towards the front of the field this season. But before we get into all of that, we'll take you trackside to look at the grid for tonight's 35-lap feature. Christian Peterson going to be on the top of the board with an 18.932, and just behind him, Team Benseer teammate Matt Cooker in second. Jeremy Adams going to roll off from the 3rd position. Connor Blaze is going to be 4th. 5th goes to Tommy Ryan. Tanner Cook going to be 6th. Jacob Porter in that 3 machine, he's going to be 7th with a 19.0. Ricky Harden going to be 8th. 9th, Jonathan Shipman. Rounding out your top 10, that's Jody Green.
Starting 11th in that 31 car is going to be Brad Carpenter. In the 12th position, Brandon Wilkinson. 13th will be Will Dravicki. And 14th in that 90 car, Jeremy Watkins. Starting 15th will be Robbie Bundin, excuse me. 16th will be Gabriel Wood. 17th starting that 24 machine, Tyler Lugo Vickery. Starting 18th will be Charlie Melvin. Starting 19th will be Kyle Livern. And rounding out your top 20, Joshua King.
And we got Rory Blum and DJ Beverly rounding out your 22-car field. A big field here for Myrtle Beach Speedway, but that's nothing that we are not accustomed to here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. We always see these big fields come out for the late model event, and I expected nothing less. Matt Cucker, Christian Peterson, top 2 in points, top 2 on the racetrack. So we'll get ready to roll them off on the grid as they are raring to go. I'm hearing the engines going on throughout here. I expect Connor Blaze to be up there towards the front. He's been very, very consistent as everything's been winding down here in the late model division here as of late. So expect him on that outside row. We've seen a lot of racing from that outside row here, and Matt Cucker, no stranger to that outside line.
Absolutely. I am not shocked at all as well with Christian Peterson and Matt Coker up front. It's going to be a great battle to see them off the start and into turn 1, as they are the 2 people leading that point standing and everybody else behind them trying to get to them. And it's just going to be a fantastic race all night long as they roll off pit road and get ready for their 2 laps of pacing, and then off we go for 35 laps.
2 laps of pacing doesn't seem like a long time, but here when you're getting ready to start the race and you get those pre-race jitters, it can seem like a long time. You know, taking a look at some Myrtle Beach Speedway facts, it's a half a mile track, you know, just a very, very interesting track, and you know, very excited to get the race underway.
Absolutely, a very interesting track indeed. You have 0.54 miles of intense track. You have a dog leg on the start, or excuse me, on the starting stretch, and it's just going to be interesting to see how people deal with that. This is our last pacing lap before we go green, and we're gonna see what happens when we let them loose.
We get through turns 3 and 4. Pace car coming down. Christian Peterson raring to get them to go. Get ready for the green flag to drop. And there it is, green flag in the air. We are green for the 35 laps at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Looking at Matt Cucker on the outside, not giving an inch going down into turns 1 and 2, but Christian Peterson gonna get the run coming off of 2. Matt Cucker gonna pile back on the outside. Now look behind them, Jeremy Adams, Connor Blaze going at it 2 by 2 coming into turn 4.
It's an intense battle in the front as the number 69 and number 23 battle it out, as you see almost 3 wide behind them with the 96, 3, and the 6. You got some good battles for that top 3, top 4. Throw them under a blanket. We have Christian Peterson out in front. Matt Coker looking on the outside, trying to get something done. It can't get it done that time. Also, number 89 trying to get it done for Matt Coker on the inside, still there battling it with that quarter panel as they go down the backstretch.
Yeah, looking into turn 3 and 4, Jeremy Adams trying to get in there on the inside. Matt Coker not wanting to give up on that outside just yet. Christian Peterson leads again at the line. Matt Coker can get there throughout down the back straightaway, but he cannot make anything stick in turns 3 and 4. Looking out just behind them, Jeremy Adams waiting for a mistake by Christian Peterson or Matt Coker, one of the 2. But look at Connor Blaze just behind them, trying to get to the outside, still side by side. They've been side by side ever since this green flag drop. We're only on lap 5, still a lot of racing to go. Matt Coker not wanting to give an inch and not wanting to give up, trying to get that lead from Christian Peterson.
Matt Coker edging his nose out. He'll be leading it at the start-finish line. What a great run by him on the outside. Christian Peterson not wanting to give it up so soon, as we have the 89 and the 56 battling out behind them. Nearly contact between the 23 and the 69. Very close racing. Won't be surprised to see if somebody gets some contact going on in there. Trying to get them bumping it out of the way and everything. 69 still leading it out with that 23. It's getting very, very close as a laps are winding down to that 35 lap mark.
Yeah, Christian Peterson washing up the racetrack there just a little bit in 1 and 2, trying to get everything he could at the corner, but it looks like Matt Coker gonna clear the 23 for the lead. The outside finally prevailed. He was able to stick it out, get the run, but I don't think Christian Peterson is done just yet. I can see him shading that inside line going to the corners. Now he's kind of just following Matt Coker through the corners just behind them. Everything's kind of settled out. Trouble for Connor Blaze, really slow off of turn number 4. Tommy Ryan gonna make contact. Smoke coming off the tires of the 56, and contact made between Tommy Ryan and Connor Blaze. Jacob Porter trying to take advantage of the 56 misfortunes and get in there, but he's gonna get in there a little bit too hot, wash up the racetrack, barely keeping it off of Connor Blaze. Then you got Tanner Cook just behind them, looking low, not gonna quite push it 3 wide. Connor Blaze struggling on the outside, trying to keep Jacob Porter behind him, or at least even with him not gonna happen. Jacob Porter gonna get around him. Meanwhile, up front you see Christian Peterson dive low, trying to get the run out of turn 4, not gonna quite do it just yet. Trevin looking to that inside to try to take that lead back.
Absolutely, as we see more battles going on between those 3 cars of 356 and 96. You know, number 56 is not going to give up. He was starting up front. He was actually the quickest one in practice, so he's not going to want to give up so easily. Falling back with that loose car, as the 23 is going to keep on battling his way up to the front. 89 trying to stick his nose in between there. He couldn't get the job done, as we're getting more separation between cars as laps are going through. 23 up in the wall.
Yeah, Christian Peterson hard on the wall and actually flips the car hard into the wall, upside down, coming to rest on his roof. We'll try to get the replay up for you, see what really happened to that 23 of Christian Peterson, just coming off of turn number 2, going down into turn 3, and just hard into the wall, and couldn't really get off, and really just went up and just hit the wall and kind of slid there, and then came to rest on his roof. Very, very weird by the 23 of Christian Peterson. Very unfortunate for that driver as well.
Absolutely, Christian Peterson. That's going to be the end to his night, as he started on the front row and now will be the first one to pull it behind the wall. So that will be very unfortunate to his point standings and race. You know, it was just a very interesting accident, as we saw him just get up in that wall and then flip over, as we saw. Probably just a brake failure, or just went too hot into that corner trying to catch up to Matt Cooker, trying to get that position back for the lead, as he was leading it earlier. It's you know, short track racing. You don't have a lot of laps in comparison to you know, NASCAR, IndyCar, and all those races. So you got to get stuff done on the early going. So we'll see what happens as the cone will come out.
Yeah, 2 laps to go. That means our cone car will make its way around the track. A whole lot of action really happened there as everything really unfolded. We saw a lot of battling between Matt Cooker and Christian Peterson. Jeremy Adams was able to throw his nose in there a little bit, but let's talk about that 56 machine of Connor Blaze, who had a really big hiccup coming out of turn number 2. Really got out of shape, and then had some huge contact with not huge contact, but enough contact to send him out, locked the tires up, and then really basically fell all the way back. It doesn't look like he fell all that way back on paper, but fell all the way back to 5th when he was running about 3rd at the time, up there with the leaders. If we take a look where the leaders are actually running now, we got Matt Cooker electing to choose the outside with that cone car coming out, looking to keep his run up on the outside. We know how well he does at restarts, as the pace cars getting ready to go down in. Jeremy Adams going to be on that inside. We saw him stick his nose in there a little bit while Matt Cooker was battling with Christian Peterson. Does he have anything for this 69 machine, as the pace cars down and away we get ready? Green flag in the air. Cooker off to a huge lead. Look at Tommy Ryan trying to make quick work of Jacob Porter as they go down into turn 1 and 2.
Absolutely, as you see them single file out for the first 2 spots. 6 and 3 are still neck and neck, along with the 96 and 56. Very, very close racing going on back there. Number 6 is able to edge out number 3, now sets his sights on the number 89. 96 going to dive below that 3 car of Jacob Porter. 96 of Tanner Cook not going to give up very easily. Trying to make that inside line work while everybody else is on that high side. So we'll see how that works out for him. Very close to the end of the race, and we're going to start seeing some guys trying to go for that front.
Yeah, laps winding down here, Trevin, as you see Tanner Cook trying to battle, getting really close to the 3 of Jacob Porter on the inside. They're trying to make that inside work. Everybody's pretty much, as you mentioned, moved up to that second groove, that 96, trying to figure something out on the bottom because it's very, very tricky to pass here. Meanwhile, up front, Matt Cucker has driven away from the field by about 5 tenths over Jeremy Adams. Jeremy Adams really has to keep it going because he has the 6 of Tommy Ryan in the mirror, and that 6 of Tommy Ryan really knows how to get away around these short tracks, so he will be no stranger to the bumper. And that's the thing, Trevin, when do they use the bumper? As we still see the 96 and the 3 of Jacob Porter and Tanner Cook go at it. Tanner Cook able to get around Jacob Porter. Now look at Connor Blaze on the inside. Jacob Porter sliding through the corners just a little bit. That's going to open up the run for the 56 of Connor Blaze as they complete lap 22 to 20, or complete lap 21 to 22.
It's all, they're going to use that bumper as the laps wear on. It's getting close to go time, you know, and we already see some banging going on between the 13, 26, 10, and 30. It's getting very close quarters between them, as we saw the 26, 13, and 10 go 3 wide a little. Oh, 26 getting into the 13. Very close.
Yeah, that's the 26 of Brandon Wilkinson getting just a little bit too hot into the corner. Maybe didn't really realize that he was that close to Jody Green, going into the corner, making contact, spinning it down, and really not really touching anything there. Trevin lucky enough to keep it off the walls and only make slight contact with Jody Green there. He was able to get it back going pretty fast. So really weird incident between the 26 and the 13 of Jody Green and Brandon Wilkinson. Gonna send Brandon Wilkinson all the way to the back of the pack.
Yeah, that will send him back to in the back of the pack. As we saw, I think it was a little bit of retaliation between the 13, because they had been beating and banging for a few laps. And you know, short track, you know, you're gonna get some tempers and flaring, and we saw it last week at Martinsville between the NASCAR race. So, you know, if you make someone mad, you know, you're gonna get some retaliation back at you if you keep on beating and banging somebody. So it was we saw the 26 get up into the 13, and then the 13 just came back down on him, and very lucky that he only had minimal damage.
Yeah, very lucky, because Myrtle Beach will swallow you up and spit you out. We've seen it many times here, especially in the Blue Ridge Napa late model division, as the caution is come out for the second time tonight. Matt Cucker still your leader, but this is exactly what Jeremy Adams needs in that 89 position. He had let Matt Cucker get away from him there at the beginning of the restart, Trevin, and now he's got him in his sights once again as we're getting ready to cross the line for 10 laps to go. He's gonna have to make his move fast.
He definitely is, as we're closing in on the final laps of this race. It's getting really intense as the 69 car of Matt Cucker comes out on top, and then the 86 of Jeremy Adams goes out on the bottom again, trying to make that bottom work. It's very interesting to see all the cars go on the bottom and try to make that bottom side work, because I believe that top line is very preferred on this track.
It really is, and we've seen Matt Cucker use it week in and week out here in this series. He really knows how to use that top line, and I feel like he is no stranger to doing it one more time as we go through turns 3 and 4, awaiting that green flag to drop, and to see that 69 machine hit the loud pedal. We will see as they're coming into turn 4, green flag in the air. Jeremy Adams is trying to stick with him. He was able to stick with him a little bit better than what happened last time. Meanwhile, behind them, side by side for the third place position, as Tanner Cook trying to make his way past Tommy Ryan, get on that high side, but that high side just too much for Tanner Cook to maybe master right now. Is Tommy Ryan able to hold him off as much as he can? Meanwhile, Matt Cucker able to pull just a little bit of a distance on Jeremy Adams.
Number 3 and 56 getting to each other, coming out of actually turn 2. That was very close, as the 15 nearly avoided that, as we have Evan Pasoko joining us in the booth. Evan, welcome.
And we did not quite have Evan just yet at the moment. The 15 of Ricky Harden, narrowly escaping contact there. Meanwhile, we look up to the front. Tommy Ryan still battling with Tanner Cook there as he slides up the track almost into the 6 of Tommy Ryan, still trying to gather it on the inside. Not going to quite work for him. Tommy Ryan will clear him going into turns 1 and 2. Meanwhile, Jeremy Adams still trying to fight back and try to claw back at Matt Cucker in that 69 machine, but Matt Cucker is just too fast here at these short tracks as we're crossing the line. 5 laps to go this time, Trevor.
The laps are winding down. Jeremy Adams needs to make something happen on the inside quickly because Matt Cooker is just running away with it as he's gaining more time lap after lap. He's got to find something else that works for him as the 96 and 6 are still battling it out. Number 3 trying to get to that mix, tries to go a little bit harder in that corner, washes up. He's going to go on the outside, keep that 56 at bay behind him, but that just brought more cars right behind him. 56 gives him the chrome horn. 3 run up the track, and 56 just takes advantage. Oh, 3 gets put into the wall, comes down to the 15s. Big caution on the backstretch.
And I think that was another retaliation event. I don't think Connor Blaze really appreciated being blocked, and he really just came up and just basically put Jacob Porter in the wall, and Jacob Porter really came off the wall hard and got really out of shape into the 15 of Ricky Harden, up into the 30 of Will Dravicki, collected Jody Crean, and even the 10 machine of Jonathan Shipman, Brandon Wilkinson, the 42 of, and everybody really piled in a parking lot in turn 3 and 4, pretty much coming there. Huge wreck. Red flag has come out as Matt Cucker is going to try to bring the field to a stop. Red flag is out.
Absolutely is a parking lot, as we saw a lot of cars get damaged there. As you know, in short track racing, you know, you don't have a lot of room to go when there's a lot of tracks spread out, so it's definitely going to turn into a parking lot, and you got to avoid a lot of those wrecks to get it through the night on a short track with a lot of beating and banging. As we saw, it was very interesting to see all that happen, as we're going to try and get a few laps left here for the end of the race.
Yeah, we're trying to get a few laps here under green. We're on lap 33, coming to 34. Not a lot of racing left to go. Admin's trying their best to get the field lined up. A lot of drivers voicing their frustration, and rightfully so. There was so much carnage going into turn 3 and 4. It was really hard to call it. It surprised me. So many drivers. We had the 42 of DJ Beverly, the 10 of Jonathan Shipman, Will Dravicki, you know, everybody kind of piled in from there on back. You know, Connor Blaze, Jacob Porter, all the way out, and you know, parked a lot of great cars. 1 to go at the line. Cone car already out as they start rolling to get ready to go green for the final time.
Yeah, we're going to get a green-white checkered, which is always nice to see at any racetrack, and we're going to see a lot of cars battling it out. 69 likes to go high, along with Jeremy Adams trying to get it done on the inside again. So we'll see how that works out for him, as well as we have the 6 and the 96 right behind them as well, looking for a win.
Yeah, and as we go through the rest of your top 10, we got Kyle Leverroll, Brad Carpenter, and Tyler Lugo Vickery back there as well. Anything can happen, as now we have Matt Cucker and Jeremy Adams leading them down to the green flag. One final time. When we get the green, we'll get the white, and we'll end this thing. Can Matt Cucker or can Jeremy Adams give anything to Matt Cucker? Green flag at the line. Matt Cucker out to a great jump. Jeremy Adams spinning the tires. The 96 of Tanner Cook all over the back bumper of the 89 machine. Not going to quite get there. White flag in the air. Tommy Ryan trying to get on the back bumper. Slow, way slow off the turn number 2, but it's all going to be Matt Cucker's. Jeremy Adams tries to get down there, slides up the track, makes contact with the wall, but Matt Cucker comes home to win the first Blue Ridge Napa late model feature, as Jeremy Adams and Tanner Cook finish behind. A crazy race to start out the night, Trevor.
Absolutely. You always got to love short track racing, especially at Myrtle Beach, as we just witnessed what could happen with this late model series, and it was absolutely phenomenal to see all these guys battle it out, especially that 89 trying to get it done on the inside, just couldn't get it done quick enough. That was a very close call between Tanner Cook and Jeremy Adams coming out of turn 4. Luckily, they saved it all, and it was just fantastic race to watch.
Matt Cucker parking in on victory lane in the front straightaway. We'll see if we can get a word with him in a few minutes. But before we do that, we'll go through your full race result for the Blue Ridge Napa Late Model feature. Matt Cucker going to come home with the win, with Jeremy Adams coming home in second, Tanner Cook third, fourth goes to Kyle Everalt, Tommy Ryan going to finish in fifth, Tyler Lugo Bickery in sixth, Joshua King seventh, eighth, Robbie Bundon ninth, Charlie Melvin, Rory Blum going to round out your top 10.
Finishing 11th in that 31 car of Brad Carpenter, Ricky Harden finishing 12th. Then we have Jeremy Watkins and Connor Blaze finishing 13th and 14th. Brandon Wilkinson finishing 16th. Jody Green finishing 16th and 2 laps down. Jacob Porter finishing 17th. Jonathan Smith finishing 18th. DJ Beverly finishing 19th. 20th will be Will Dravicki, Gabriel Wood, and Christian Peterson will finish 21st and 22nd.
Let's look at your full race results. We're going to see if we can talk to the winner, I should say, Matt Cucker in the 69 machine. Going to see if we can get a quick word with him. Get him up here just in a second as we go. Matt, what a wild win! What a wild race to start off the night here tonight. You know, how'd the car feel out there?
The car felt pretty good. I mean, earlier on it was a little snug on the outside, and I know Christian, he was a little snug on the inside, so it was tight overall. And then towards the end there, I started getting super loose, and I was afraid Jeremy was going to sneak it in there on that last corner, and his car didn't stick, and I overdrove it, mine didn't stick, and overall it was a pretty decent night. I mean, I feel bad for Christian in this points battle, but his screen blacked out on him, so nothing you could do about it, but he hopefully regroups, and he'll be for the next race.
And we saw you go to that high line a lot earlier than normal. Was there just a lot more speed up there than you normally find? Because we normally see you ride around the bottom for the first time, but within the first 5 laps, you were already battling on that high side. How'd the high side feel out there tonight?
High side had a lot of grip, a lot more than I expected for this overcast weather, but I mean, on the bottom, if you were on the bottom and someone was on your outside, you were trapped because you'd get too tight and you'd have to lift and let him go, which is what Christian had a problem with. He got too tight, and then I finally had enough momentum to get around him. But I mean, I love the top side here. There's always a lot of grip, and yeah, normally it's later on in the run that I'll move up there, but I figured tonight, in order to get past Christian, it would have been the only way, is I had to do it early on, because later on in the race, I know it would have been a lot harder.
Got a whole lot more racing up on deck here for tonight, especially with another Blue Ridge Napa Late Model feature. Can we see you back here in the next race you signed up for it?
I hope so. I mean, next one's the Chargers. I had fast lap, and Jeremy was second, so we'll see what happens. I don't know what the dice roll was, but we'll see what happens, because we got the Chargers and the Street Stocks for me, and then the second late model one, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully we'll be talking to you again. Hopefully.
Before we let you go, sponsors, shout-outs, who makes it happen for you there, Matt?
I thank Team Vincier, Globalcom, I Analyze, you guys for broadcasting, definitely, and Kyle Barnes and Myrtle Beach Speedway for putting this on. It's always fun.
Always fun to talk to you. Thanks for taking the time out. Good luck in the next race. Hopefully talking to you real soon.
I hope so. Thank you.
And there you have it, Trevin. A huge race. Matt Cucker coming home with the win. We'll take a step back, take a step aside, get ready for the Chargers division up next here on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
Reese. I'm driving the number 20 JGR Toyota Xfinity car this weekend. Really great opportunity here at New Hampshire at my home track. Over the past 2 weeks, I've been on iRacing, practicing a little bit here and there with the modified and the NASCAR Xfinity car, so it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great tool for me to kind of get used to that stock car body again and be prepared for the race today. Well, yeah, it's a mile long, so the draft kind of plays into effect here with the modifieds, punches a big hole in the air, and we run restrictor plates. So it makes a big difference. Just really fast, and it's our Daytona. So that's what's great about it, and we have a fast car for tomorrow. I think the biggest thing is they're heavier cars. The tire's a lot different, and the way you go about setting them up is a lot different. They use all 4 tires more than a modified, where we typically drive off the right rear, you know, so. Well, actually, it's funny. I raced NASCAR race in 2003 before iRacing came about. And then when iRacing came about, my friend Kevin Iannarelli, who works at iRacing, kind of told me, hey man, you need to switch over to this. And when I did, I was like, oh my God, this is like real life. So I started using it as a tool of mine to really prepare for modified races, whether it was Stafford or Thompson or Loudon, Bristol. And then obviously the Xfinity Series last year, going to road courses, trying to get laps, and use it as a tool that can get me as prepared as I could be without actually doing it. So it's been great.
Welcome back live to the Myrtle Beach Speedway, where LSRTV's continuing coverage of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series presented by the Championship Esports Association continues into tonight's Austin Designs Week 9 of competition as we bring you back to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. One down, still plenty of racing to go on it, but I think just taking a look top to bottom has to be one of the busier nights we're going to have on the season. You just saw Matt Cucker open up the evening with the trip to victory lane, winning the first of 2 Blue Ridge Napa Late Models Division events, just as they did 1 week ago. They will be tonight's twin attraction, and they will be back a little bit later on this evening. But before that, Chris, we turn our sights to the Chargers division. We have not seen these cars since week 5. In week 5, they were the main attraction, where they had 2 main events with Jeremy Adams and Rafe Slate taking home the checkered flags. Always fun to see these very heavily modified late models on track. They are due up next for actually the longest race on the night at 40 laps.
Yeah, we have 2 40-lap features here tonight in the Chargers and the Super Trucks, but you mentioned it. We haven't seen these Chargers in such a long time, so everybody's going to have to, I think, take a few laps to maybe reacquaint themselves with how these cars feel. You mentioned a Rafe Slate taking home a victory once again. Now he's going to be out there in the 8 machine once again, trying to take home. He was the last driver to win in these Chargers division, maybe trying to keep that streak up once again. We saw, if I remember back correctly to week 5, he was pretty dominant throughout that second Charger race, so we'll have to see what he has for now. But Matt Cucker with a whole lot of momentum after that crazy first race of him.
And no surprise, those names are those who top the championship standings in the Chargers division into tonight. Jeremy Adams is your points leader by 10 points over Rafe Slate, who comes into tonight P2 at a championship. Matt Cucker dropped down from 1st to 3rd as of the last time these cars were on track, having not made a start. So he enters tonight 3rd in the points and 14 points back as well. But cars are headed down trackside atop 7 invert. Let's take a look top to bottom at your LSRTV starting grid for tonight's Chargers division main event. So pole position in this one is going to end up in the hands of the 87 of Robbie Bundon, who will be joined on the outside of the front row with P2 started the 24 of Tyler Lugo Vickery. Tanner Cook and Rafe Slate, the name we were just talking about, going to make up row 2. They start 3rd and 4th respectively, with Rocevecchi swirling off from P5.
6 goes to Jeremy Adams. Matt Cucker going to be 7th. That's going to be where your invert stops. Jacob Porter going to be 8th, 9th. Kyle Leveralt, Brad Carpenter in that 31 going to be rounding out your 10-car field.
Look top to bottom at your starting grid, and Trevor, very much like we saw in that last one, same cars. They obviously handle a lot differently, but the challenge is going to be for Cucker P7 and Adams P6 and Dravicki 5 and so on and so forth. Is the fastest cars are in the middle of the pack, but it's a substantially smaller car count than what we saw in that Blue Ridge Napa late model main event. So it's not going to be as chaotic maybe mid-pack, but it is still definitely not going to be a walk in the park for those guys.
Absolutely, it will not. With a lot of cars in front of them, we're going to see them try to battle their way back out to the front. Not a lot of cars to work with, as you said, but it might make it easier on them a little bit, as they don't have to work through many cars. But you know, it's going to be interesting to see how these cars affect their runs, as we did see them become fastest and then have to go back down to that 7th position. So it'll be interesting to see them fight their way back up to the front.
And as we noted, this is the one of 2 40-lap mid-events on tonight. We should say going to be the longest trip start to finish to Super Trucks. We'll have 40 laps a little bit later on in the evening as well. But that being said, the pace cars down to the safety pit lane, and the field is going to be in the hands of the 87 of Robbie Button, qualified 7th, but the invert has him on pole as we go racing from Myrtle Beach Speedway for the first of 40 laps. A long way to home. It's a battle for 3rd already inbound. Vickery blows the corner, and he'll lose, if not more than 1 spot. We're 3 wide and almost wrecking already.
Yeah, Dravicki, Adams, and Lugo Vickery up on the top side. He's dropping like a rock here, Evan. Maybe not a very, very good start at all, but look at that 96 of Tanner Cook rocketing around the 87 of Robbie Bunner, and here comes Rave Slate in that 8. We talked about him in the pre-race. Very, very strong coming off the last win here. Going to try to make that bid for 2nd, and he's going to get it from the 87 of Robbie Bunner. Now we got the Dravicki going down the inside, and Matt Cucker Adams just behind him.
The top 2 single file up, but we are 2 by 2, and a caution flag will fly at lap number 3. Looks like maybe problems with Brad Carpenter. The 31 entry has a good bit of damage, and he is a part of this one. We'll get a second look up in a moment on the LSRTV replay. It was a fight for 7th position, Carpenter and Porter, and the 3 just got loose all on his own. That car looked like Trevitt was going to spin down to the inside of the racetrack, so Carpenter tried to go high. The 3 then snapped up high, got into him, and both of those cars around. And I think Vickery, who started on the front row, also got a good piece of damage in that one.
Absolutely, it was just a case of wrong place, wrong time for the number 31, as that 3 did get loose and just snap up to the top side, and then another wrong place, wrong time for Tyler Lugo Vickery. Started up front, and now his race will be in peril, as his car is definitely damaged in that front end. So it's going to be very interesting to see all wrecks all night long, because it's a very it is a short track, and it's very hard to get out of the way when wrecks do arise from these racings.
And at the end of the day, you know, for Vickery, he only took advantage of the invert, qualified 6th, ended up starting this race in 2nd position, and we saw it right off at the green there, you know, Chris. He went down into 1 and 2 and just was way up out of the groove, and not only got passed by Cook, who went on to very quickly take over the race lead, but then he found himself 3 wide in that contact we saw with Adams. So if the 24 doesn't make the mistake like that, he doesn't find himself in the middle of the pack. He doesn't find himself with damage. He'll be on the pit lane as we go back racing, though, for Myrtle Beach. 5 laps complete, and a little bit more single file up front this time, with Cook cleared for P1. Maybe a challenge inbound for P2 as Robbie Bundon tries to work back up. Slate goes low, though, to shut the door.
Shutting the door, but Tanner Cook gliding through the corners. Actually, I was just about to give him props for that rocket start off of the start line, but now look at Rafe Slate trying the inside to get there. Tanner Cook gonna go way high up in the corner and slide it just a little bit more loose all over the place. That 96th machine is now Rafe Slate looks to the inside, is gonna be there. Tanner Cook going way wide in the corner once again, but this time the momentum gonna work in his favor. He's gonna shoot off the corner. Look at Matt Cucker just behind him, started 7th because the invert now looking low for 3rd, and maybe have his sights set on a 2nd as Robbie Bundon spins it from the top of the track.
Caution flag is out. He was a little bit, I think, uncertain going into turn 1 with Matt Cucker, who had just made that move to the inside. He spun it around, and I think the slightest contact between he and the 30 machine of Will Dravicki. They did get into each other, but it could have been a lot worse. They basically ended up parallel with each other when they actually got into each other, so nobody took too big of a hit, and it'll be a quick yellow as we get set to re-rack them and restack them. But I think the big takeaway there is handling issues continue to be a thing. Second yellow, Trevor, in the opening 10 laps. Second single car spin that turned into a little bit more.
Absolutely. As we talked about earlier, these guys haven't raced these cars for a while, and coming off of that late model 35 lap feature, these cars are different, so they're gonna need a little bit more adjustments to handling them. So that's why we're seeing them get a little bit out of shape and around very easily, as we see only all cars on lead laps. So that's how they're standing right now, with Tanner Cook up front and Rafe Slate up front as well.
I think the big name we need to look at is Matt Cucker. If there's any race tonight that the number 60 Donovan sheet is going to be able to pick up 6 spots, going for the middle of the pack to the front, it is this one, and that's a couple of reasons. A, talked about it earlier, a little bit of a shorter car count on average in this Chargers division. The top two about took out the cone car there, but we're going to be okay. But on top of the smaller car count as well, Matt Cucker has a lot of laps to work with this. He's already going to find himself at the outside of the front row because Slate, actually P2, wants to start in line behind Cook. So Matt Cucker really doesn't even need to be this close to the front this early. He'll have about 28 laps when we go back green still to negotiate this. Keep an eye on the 3-time Chargers division winner this season on the outside of the front row. But Tanner Cook wants another good restart, and he's got it. Not the case for Rafe Slade, who essentially hands over P2 to Cucker.
He did in more ways than just one, really giving the lane to Matt Cucker that Matt Cucker really wants, but Matt Cucker didn't get the start he wanted either because Jeremy Adams was beating down that back bumper. Now you see Matt Cucker loose out of the corner. We don't see that too much from that 69 machine, maybe struggling just a little bit as we talked about earlier. Everybody's struggling with handling as we haven't seen these cars since week 5, but now look, Tanner Cook loose up the track into the wall. Matt Cucker taking advantage as they go down to the turn 3. New leader, Matt Cucker.
96, he just couldn't hold it down. We saw it in 4, and we saw it again that time in turn number 2. That car just does not want to stick on the inside, and it was walking up the hill, and even still seesawed back and forth on that wheel. And yes, Matt Cucker's machine is still a little bit squirrely, if you will. You can see him slide up, but there's a lot less wheel action out of the 69 machine. Doesn't mean that this thing's over, though. The 96 is going to cross him back up, and the battle for the race lead is on once more, side by side for first and side by side for third behind.
As they're going down the back straight, or the front straightaway I should say, side by side still for the lead. Matt Cucker trying everything as Tanner Cook almost washes up into the corner panel of that 69 machine. That was really close. Evan now going back down into corner number 3. Tanner Cook has to reset himself just behind him. Battle for third shaping up as now Jeremy Adams looking to the outside of Rafe Slate. Almost made it work going down into the turns 1 and 2. Rafe Slate gonna power back on that inside. Get a little bit squirrely down there on the bottom. Gonna keep him and Adams even going down into turn 3.
No need to break out the stopwatch. Cucker has been able to go bottom to top in less than half of the laps in this Chargers division main event. Again, he has 3 wins in these cars this year. Other wins allotted to Jeremy Adams with 1, and Rafe Slate, the most recent winner, with 1 as well. But I don't think you can count out the likes of Adams. Adams just lost a spot to Slate as the 8 was able to jump back on him in a battle for third. But Adams, again, second best in qualifying, ended up P6 at a grid. If he can get by the traffic, I think he stands a shot at this thing. But even Cook hanging right there with him, even Slade as well. So you take a side when they have those big slides coming off of the corner. They're pretty much step for step with Cucker. I think if we stay green, Trevor, it's really going to play into the wheelhouse of the 60 to Matt Cucker. But if this race has a yellow and a restart or 2, they have a legitimate shot at this thing. But at least right now, the 69 is enjoined up front.
Absolutely, he is, as the 96 got into the wall again. And, you know, cautions will stack this field up again and see different combinations of that cone car used, as we see Matt Cooker still leading the way. And it's just remarkable how he made his way up from mid-pack to the front within 10 laps, as we are crossing halfway. It's just absolutely remarkable to see him dominate week in and week out in these cars. 96 still trying to get to the back bumper of Matt Cooker, 0.4 seconds behind, and that doesn't seem like a lot, but for Tanner Cook it is quite a lot to get to him in 0.4 of a second. So we'll see. They've really kept it together. It's single file as far as I can see, so I'm sure this is going to go green for a little bit longer, but they do have some handling issues, as we saw two people already get around by themselves, so it doesn't really necessarily have to be close racing that gets these cars turned around. We could see them as self-spin.
And half of the drivers who are still on the lead lap with the 8 cars still running within one circuit of the race leader, Matt Cooker. Top 4 are all within 0.8 of a second. Cooker's now, or rather, Cook is only 0.2 off of Cooker. Can't combine 2 last names at once. He's only 0.2 back. Then he got Slate third, right now 0.5 back, and Jeremy Adams P4 only 0.8 back. So again, even Cooker is struggling with the handling, especially on the exit of the quarter, and it's allowed the 96 to reel him back in, and a fight for third is on, maybe contact that time into turn 1. It was a pretty tight entry, but Jeremy Adams, who had to aboard, as we now go side by side for the race lead. So we are far from over. The 96 sideways on the inside, and it'll allow the 69 to hang on.
He hangs on just for a little bit, but it's kind of weird because now you see the 69 of Matt Cooker doing the same thing in turns 1 and 2, Evan. They kind of trade off corners because now Tanner Cook will go in hard to the inside. He was able to keep it straight that time. Wash up, maybe just a little bit well out of shape.
What a save.
What a save, as Rafe Slate will now take the second place position and maybe have his sights set on that 69 of Matt Cooker as he slides through the corners once again. Everybody's struggling with grip out here tonight, Evan.
Well, and that's why I was so concerned, but he got sideways on the inside of Cooker the last time in turn 4, because if the guy on your inside trim gets loose, you can't do anything. If he slides up the hill, you're junked too. And Matt Cooker is lucky that that little bit of contact at her left rear wasn't anything more than that, or both of those cars could have found themselves in serious trouble. And even now that we remove Cook from the equation for the moment, that does not mean Cooker's safe, because Slate right there on the doorstep in P2 now.
That number 69 of Matt Cooker is not safe at all. He throw those 4 first cars under a blanket, and as you were talking earlier, if that car would have gotten loose again, 96 again getting a little sideways coming out of turn 2, but if he were to bump that car the wrong way, he would have easily gotten turned around with this different kind of setup on the car. These cars are just getting closer and closer as the race wears on. 10 laps to go, so it's only going to get more energetic as we see Tanner Cook starting to fall off the pace a little bit as he got loose again at that time out of 2. 89 trying to get to that number 8's back bumper. Matt Cooker is starting to run away with it a little bit at a time each lap.
He pulls a bit and then he loses a bit. I think that, and you know, it's kind of a trivial point to make, but if Matt Cooker's not making a mistake, he's fastest at the racetrack. Of course, everybody is struggling with the handling. That's why he has not run away with this race. Still only 0.3 of a second off of in front of Slate. Not something that you would expect that a Cooker, say 20 laps into a green flag run. At this point, he'd typically be checked in, and again, still in a good position, with the exception of the one time Cook got to the inside. Really hasn't had any big scares, but those guys behind him will not go away. And with 8 laps to go this time around, he cannot afford to make a mistake, because 0.4 is striking distance. But that time, Slate messed up turn 1, and a battle for P2 is great news for your race leader.
I was just about to say, you know who likes seeing that in their rearview mirror, Evan? Matt Cooker, because that just allows him to pull out the gap even more, especially with Slate getting the wall on the back straightaway just a little bit there. Now Adam's still trying to work the inside. 0.7 is the gap now as Slate slides it up off the corner. Matt Cooker able to drive away. I think that 69 machine has finally figured out the line and how to manage the handling here. You only see little quick jutters from that 69 every now and then off the corners, but not too much. Not not as much as he was doing at least 5 laps ago, Evan. So maybe that 69 has figured the Chargers division out at the perfect time, as now he's pulled away, coming to 5 laps to go.
5 to go this time by. Again, doesn't necessarily be the point of no return. We can have late race restarts, but we are starting to see that separation finally on the very end run of this 40-lap feature race that we expected to see a little bit earlier on. It's 1 second between first and second. Rafe Slate holds 3/10 in front of Adams, Cook P4, Porter P5, Leveralt and Dravicki through the top 7. So only 7 cars now left on the lead lap in this thing. And the next time by, Matt Cucker going to take 3 laps to go, almost home.
Absolutely, see the 89 and 8 battling it out for that second position a few laps ago. He did get a little impatient with that 8 and give him the chrome horn, but then quickly after that, the number 89 got a little loose, struggling with that handling, as we see the number 96 of Tanner Cook starting to fall back even more. And number 89 is trying to dive it in below that number 8, trying to get into the inside on those closing laps with 2 to go, coming to the white flag, I believe, as 89 is still trying to get to that back bumper.
Popsicle stakes in the air, 2 laps to go. The gap is now the biggest it has been all night long at 1.2 seconds. We may still have a fight for P2 before this race is done. Adams is there, and if he really wanted to, could put the bumper to the gate. He might not have to. A mistake by Slate. All kinds of sideways, and a fight is going to be on for second spot, and the 89 machine of Jeremy Adams is going to take it. And in quarters 1 and 2, we'll keep an eye on the excitement out in front, though. Matt Cucker, final time to quarters 3 and 4. It'll be career Chargers division win number 4, his second on the night. Matt Cucker is your winner, and Adams hangs on for P2 with Slate to round out the top 3.
And Slate did not give up. He threw it down on the inside coming through 3 and 4, but just was not enough. Adams had already made the position and made the pass to get second place. What a drive by Matt Cucker to come up through 7th. Not a lot of cars, as we mentioned here earlier, Evan, but with the grip and the handling and how good and how even everybody just was with those 2 factors playing a huge factor in this race, Matt Cucker still able to come out on top and 2 for 2 here on the night.
No better way to start a night, Trevin. 2 starts, 2 wins. The 69 machine looking for another week win, if you want to call it that. Last week, Christian Peterson took home the most wins on the evening. The last time we saw Matt Cucker do just that was way back on week 4. It feels like a long time ago, but when he did that, he won every single race. He's off to a good start.
Absolutely, that number 69 of Matt Cucker is absolutely dangerous on this track and in these divisions, and it's just going to get more intense as he progresses throughout the season and gets even better than what he is now. And it's just fantastic to see him race week in and week out, and it's just absolutely amazing to see as we see now 2 races down of this 5 series main event.
And we'll have an opportunity to get words with the driver of the 69 machine again, but first, as always, let's take a look to the running order as of lap 40 and take a look top to bottom at your LSRTV full race results. Matt Cucker takes home the checkered flag at this one, 1.6 seconds clear of Jeremy Adams, who made a pass coming to 2 laps to go to hand Rafe Slate a P3 result tonight. Tanner Cook was 4th, and Jacob Porter rounds out your top 5.
Kyle Leveralt going to come home in at 6th place position. Will Dravicki going to be 7th in your last car on the lead lap. Tyler Lugo victory in 8th. 9th, Robbie Bunden, and 10th, Brad Carpenter, all involved in some early race wrecks. But that is a look top to bottom at your field.
It is how they came across the line. And a guy who was fastest out of all was Matt Cucker. He's the second time we've been able to chat with him in this night that is still very young. But Matt, congratulations on another trip to victory lane. Once again in this Chargers division, the 4th win for you in these cars. And it did not look like a walk in the park. The stats would suggest that you're really good in these and you're fast. And that's no doubt. You win by 1.6 seconds, it's your 4th. But it did not look like a stroll in the park by any means. That car was sliding, and there were points there where you had cleared for the race lead, got some time, and then a little bit of a mistake and a slip up allowed those guys to get back to you. So how difficult was that car to handle?
Tonight, this car was it was definitely a handful. I mean, it drove a lot different than any other time we drove the Chargers here, and I mean, when we had qualifying, I thought it was gonna be a walk in the park to run away with it. But tonight, I couldn't figure out if it was me watching my mirror, watching what was going on behind me, if somebody was gonna overdrive and then I'd screw up, or if it was just me in general, just watching, just not hit my marks right, or what was going on. But they were all over me, and I wasn't sure that I was gonna be able to hold Tanner off, and then I don't know what happened, and then that was a handful.
And the interesting thing about this one is because of that top 7 invert, you guys start P7, kind of the middle of the pack, and then obviously the objective is to make your way to the front of the field. But I think you had 2 things working for you, and that was a relatively smaller car count in this Chargers division compared to what we saw, in the race just prior with the late models, but as well the longer amount of laps of 40. I had figured that would help you. It would give you more time to kind of pace yourself, work your way up to the front, but it kind of looked like it hurt you because you charged to the front, you were there before halfway, and in all those extra laps after lap 20 and 25 and 30 and on, it kept giving those guys more opportunities to get to you.
Yeah, that probably was one of the issues. Is I wasn't thinking about it being 40 laps. I said something before the race. I was like, man, 40 laps is a long time for these things. But I'm used to racing those 25 lappers that we have, and tonight it was a 40 lap, and I don't think I was ready for it, and I just was driving harder than I should have, and I think that's what wore off the right rear a lot. So I mean, hey, we've still got the W. I'm happy with it, and hopefully we can do something in the street stock.
Well, we often tell you that, a lot of these races for you guys come down to victory lane because of the strategy play that you put into it, and I don't think it's a bad thing to say that you won this one just because of the speed. Maybe the strategy wasn't there completely, but you guys got the job done. That's all that matters. You're 2 for 2 on the night. We'll see if you can get a third one. We'll let you strap in before we do, Matt. As always, the sponsors to shout out, so makes it happen.
I got to thank you guys for broadcasting. I Analyze for coming on board. Globalcom, Team Vincier. I mean, I wouldn't be racing without these guys because it's always a blast racing with them, and I wouldn't want to race with any other group of guys. I mean, we always have the personality. We're always racing hard against each other. We'll smack talk each other, and then we go out and race hard, and we never wreck each other. So it's always a blast, and I can't thank them guys enough. And Kyle Barnes for putting a show on along with Myrtle Beach.
Well, it's that dynamic that makes things just as fun for us topside. As always, Matt, we appreciate the time. Congratulations on another one. And I have a feeling if the trend continues, we'll chat soon. So best of luck.
Thank you. I hope so.
That is Matt Kucker. He has not only won in the Blue Ridge Napa late models, but as well in the Chargers division. 2 for 2 to open week number 9 of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series. As we work into the night, the lights come on next as we take an opportunity to step aside. And when we come back, the Super Truck division 2 up, but straight stocks, one of the shortest points races on the evening, is next for the Myrtle Beach Speedway. And you're watching it all on LSRTV and to iRacing Live.
Hi, I'm Chris Page. I work here at iRacing. Been here 2 days before launch, actually, is when I got started. So we have developers working on front-end web development. We have back-end guys specializing there. We have DevOps that are dealing with networking, servers, a database team, so many different teams because there's lots of different work to do. The new user interface, which we call Scorpio internally, is a complete overhaul. So in the case of results, the way that it has historically worked is you would request results. The request would be sent to the server, which would then query the database, compile that, and send it back. What we're doing now is whenever we get the results of a race, we'll compile those results and push them up as a static page cached so that when you need it, it's available for you. It doesn't need to be computed on the fly. It will be much faster and scale much better. just began with reimagining the website. We took a step back and said, how do people use this? How do people want to use it? And our initial vision of leveraging the web and getting your stats there, finding out a schedule and joining, that was a good one. And we want to continue to support that as much as possible. We're also making a change so that you'll be able to just double click on the application and fire up and go racing that way. Jump from one race to the next without even leaving the application. The good news is this is a whole new infrastructure, so we'll be able to release it in parallel, and you'll be able to use the existing member site you're comfortable with, but still fire up the application and get the new experience. And that will really help us, because as good of a job we've done, there's still things we can learn. And by running it in parallel, we'll be able to collect that data and make it an even better experience. We'll be able to learn by your input. So with the preview of the user interface, you'll be able to use the new feature Time Attack and be able to experience some of the existing functionality, but we still haven't done everything, and that will come over time. We're going to have tighter integration with the sim in the back end than we ever have before. So as an example, in Time Attack, whenever there's a new best lap time, we take that lap data and we push it up into the cloud. What then happens is when you're in Time Attack, you're launching a session, you can pick anyone's best lap time and race against it, whether that be a friend or the leader in your current competition. When you fire up the sim, it will pull down that data and you can race against that lap time. We're looking forward to getting this out to you because we've been working on it for a really long time. But we're super excited about where we're going because this is only the beginning.
Welcome back live to the Myrtle Beach Speedway and the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series presented by the Championship Esports Association as our coverage of the Austin Designs Week 9 continues here as the sun has gone down, the lights have come up, and we're happy that you're hanging tough with us at LSRTV, your home for sim racing. 2 races down, same name as the talk of the town, Matt Cucker, 2 for 2 in the Blue Ridge Napa Late Models Division and the Chargers as we head to the shortest points race on the evening in the straight stocks. 30 laps due up for another series that Matt Cucker is very good in. Jeremy Adams, though, holds the most wins in these cars, and just like we saw in the last one, Coop, you know, we're going to have an invert of the top 7, so you're not going to be starting mid-pack, so I believe, just based on what we see, Cucker probably going to be in the middle of the pack, trying to take a look if Adams is on track. Adams is on track as well, so it'll be those two, probably 7 and 6, Chris, I can't promise that, but just based on how good these two are, the top 2 winners in this division, we'll probably see something similar to what we just saw.
Yeah, I don't think you're too far off to make that assumption at all, Evan. Nothing against everybody else in here because anything can really happen, and especially when we're going from late models to Chargers to street stocks, anybody can pull anything out of anywhere. So we'll have to see where they all line up as we get ready to line them up here. But like you said, Matt Cucker, not where we expected him to be, so interesting as I'm looking at the lineup here, but we'll go through that very quickly right now.
Yeah, we'll figure out the look top to bottom in this one. Expect these cars to handle just a tad bit better, and they're a lot smaller, so a little bit more real estate. I'd rather their field that was equal size to what we just saw before in the Chargers. But we head down track level with the pace cars about to roll off with the grid to take a look at our LSRTV starting grid for tonight's Straight Stocks Division main event. The invert at the top 7 is going to put Jonathan Smith on a pole position, and he will be accompanied by challenger in the last race, Tanner Cook. You get another shot at it, this time in the Numberati 6 machine. He'll roll from 2nd. Then you'll have Jerry Watkins starting tonight in 3rd, with Brandon Wilkinson 4th, and Matt Cucker 3rd best on time, means he rolls from P5.
P6 goes to Will Dravicki, and Jeremy Adams is going to be your 7th car in that invert. 8th goes to Jacob Porter. 9th, Brad Carpenter. Kyle Everall 10th, rounding out your 11 car field. That's the 72 of Rory Blum.
Expect because these cars might have a little bit more bite in them, people to be a little bit more brave, and maybe for it to not be as easy as the last one is for Cucker and Jeremy Adams. But we do have to note the Street Stock Championship standings driven into tonight. Adams at the top of the pile. Matt Cucker 27 points off in second, and Jonathan Smith actually is third, 32 points back. Biggest stat I want to take away from that, though, Jeremy Adams 4 wins on the year, Matt Cucker 3 wins on the year, everybody else 0.
Yeah, we have those two people dominating the street stock division. It's going to be interesting to see if these guys can get past those two other guys to make a difference in this point standing. As you said earlier, you know, we have a lot more races going on throughout the week's time. And it's going to be interesting to see who can edge these guys out and if anybody can beat those guys as we come to the green flag.
The pace car made the dive down to the inside of the racetrack. Here we go. 30 laps on board. It is the shortest points race on the evening. The field's 2x2, though, coming out of turn number 4 to the green flag, and it is a better jump for the outside. Tanner Cook, an Advani 6 machine, will lead to turn number 1. Not clear by any means, but a nose in front means that he can challenge at a corner number 2. The Tanner Smith cut the apron a little bit on those rumble strips to stay side by side.
And normally you won't see too many people venture down below those rumble strips, but these cars can definitely take it here. Evan is the 26, getting a little bit loose out of the corner. Now going to immediately dive down to the inside, 3 wide for the lead. Smith inside, Wilkinson on the bottom, 96 of Tanner Cook on the outside, still 3 wide, going down the back straightaway. Smith will back out of it, leaving it 2 wide battle for the lead, going through 3 and 4.
That was a gutsy move by Brandon Wilkinson for this early on, and Smith just didn't want to be the pinball in between him. Almost bounced off the 96, almost bounced off the 26, and backed out of it, and now in front. That gutsy move is going to pay its due diligence, because Wilkinson going to go to the race lead at lap 3, but they are not getting away from anybody. Slow into turn 4, he's in the fence. Wilkinson overdrove it, and he'll go first to 4th.
Absolutely, we saw the number 26, big risk, big reward, and then into the wall, so that did not help him at all as we have more contact into the wall a little bit, but is able to save it. As you mentioned, they do have great grip, so they're able to save it very easily. I was very, very close. I had 30 spins to the grass on the front stretch, but no caution yet as the 26 and now falling back further. Matt Cucker now in the lead with Jeremy Adams right behind him, looking for his back bumper. 26 and 3 still battling it out for that 4th position as we see them fighting it on lap 7.
Javicki was an innocent victim there because he got hit by Cook, and there is plenty of contact throughout the field. It's Wilkinson and Porter got pinched a little bit down at 1 and 2. He hit the 26 once, and he'll hit him a second time. Caution flag as Wilkinson goes around, and so does Tanner Cook.
A whole lot of contact. I was surprised the caution didn't really come out sooner.
They're still hitting each other under yellow. They're hitting each other again.
Each other still. Some maybe pent up frustration from all of the contact. Brandon Wilkinson had such a good start, able to make it 3 wide for the lead, but as soon as he overdrove it, hit that wall, it pretty much went downhill, hit the wall still. And even connected the 96 of Tanner Cook from that initial contact. And then, as you mentioned, they were still hitting each other under yellow. But surprisingly, no surprise here, Evan. Do you see what car is leading this race after all of that carnage took place? That 69 of Matt Cucker.
Yeah, through everything, through all the contact, and I'm basically going to say that wreck at lap 6 was 6 laps in the making, because we didn't go much more than 5 seconds without somebody getting some of that wrap ripped off of the race car, and all of a sudden, through the dust emerges Matt Cucker as your race leader, just like that. The 60 auto machine again didn't do as good in qualifying, and you know, for those who may be thinking, okay, well, just don't qualify as fast and you can start up front, the invert is not known to these drivers until after qualifying. So for the 60 auto machine was 3rd best. It put him P5 on everything, and that's how he ended up in the middle of the pack, but he's been able to get to the front. But it has not been a stroll for the 69 machine. I like that analogy because Adams, one more win than him. Four wins, rather, for the driver on the inside of the front row, and 3 wins for the driver on the outside. So that's a lot of stacked up heat on the front row. We'll see, can Smith do something? How about Brad Carpenter to the outside in P4? Keep an eye on those guys as well, no doubt. But the guys on the front row, I think, are going to put on a show for us. 9 laps complete. A long way to go with 21 laps still left on top of the clock, and it is a better jump topside. Cucker to the line, but he rolls out of the gas. Adams now to turn 1.
Number 89 going to try and battle the number 69 of Matt Cucker. Matt Cucker is going to try and hold it off on the outside, trying to get that outside line to work a little bit more as he's going to edge out the number 89 and clear him. As we look further back in the pack between the number 7 and the 90, fighting it out a little bit as the 26 is going to try and get to the back bumper. 72 and the number 96 going to battle it out with the number 30. Very close racing in the back of the pack as well.
It's top to bottom. You got to fight for the race lead. You got that fight for third or so, and then that fight from P5 on back, which includes 2 wide, a couple of rows deep. Want to watch that side by side, but I can't help to be keeping both of my eyes at a battle for the race lead. Here comes Jeremy Adams, nose to the inside of the racetrack. Not going to be able to get positioned yet, but now Cocker going to give him spacing to 1 and 2. The 89 is able to drive it onto the inside, and they're going to pinch each other all the way up to the fence, side by side racing for the front spot.
And who would be the one to play spoiler for Matt Cucker's perfect weekend? The one that's played supposed bridesmaid throughout the entire night, because Matt Cucker's won every race, but Jeremy Adams has also came in second every race tonight so far, Evan, and I think that 89 machine is tired of finishing second to Matt Cucker, because you can see him dive it really far down, almost into the inside wall there in turns 3 and 4, trying to get any run whatsoever on Matt Cucker. See him diving it real low, real early down the front straightaway, trying to get the run into turns 1 and 2. So he's trying to exhaust all of his resources here in Myrtle Beach to try to make any sort of move on Matt Cucker.
I agree 100%. I think most of the time in oval racing, you get a solid second place finish to a guy that's as good as Matt Cucker, and you take it. But this is short track racing. Very little rolling over happens. The only time we see somebody roll over is in its literal definition, where a car's on its lid. Nobody rolls over and gives up a spot for the race win. But also, you don't want to get beat by the same guy. Second, it sucks. You get another second, okay, but it's good points. But if that same guy keeps beating you and he's only getting you by a little bit, you can't help but think that that bumper can change your fortunes. And even though we saw Trevor, these guys battle for the race lead, didn't hurt them at all. They actually expanded the race lead over third from 0.9 of a second to 2.1. So they're still consistently the fastest cars on track. And now past the halfway point, Adams is starting to surge a little bit of a lower line all the way around the Myrtle Beach Speedway.
Yeah, and I think it has to go with all that grip that they have. They're able to stay next to each other but still be consistent at the same time. It's very interesting to see how these guys race it out for coming to 10 laps to go. We see this fight still going on between the 3 and all of that car pack around them. The number 90 a few laps ago got a little loose and nearly went to that inside grass as we go 3 wide for, I believe it's 6th place, and they're able to hold tough. Tanner Cook is in the middle. 31 gets into the wall a little bit. Very close call for them. Jacob Porter backs out of that, decides better of it, as we see them still fighting for that 6th place position.
The 3 was in a little bit of the contact earlier tonight, so was the 31 machine, as you can see, and just for good measure, so was the 96. It's the Battle of Misfits in the back with all the torn up sheet metal who are going at it. About 7 seconds, though, behind the guys up front. And Adams is hitting the nose to the inside of Cucker consistently. The 69 is not pinching him down. But I think that kind of plays into the strategy at Matt Cucker's camp, because he's able to run a good line about 1 car length up off of the bottom of the racetrack, and he gets a run off of the corner, which basically negates any advantage that Adams gets by driving it in hard.
It really does, and we're winding down the laps pretty fast here, guys. You know, within 10 laps to go, and we know how hard it is to pass here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Now add a driver as the caliber of Matt Cucker to that equation, and it becomes infinitely harder here, Evan. So you can see how hard Jeremy Adams is really trying to get all over that inside line and try to get there. He's there now on the inside of turn 1 and 2, gonna have that nose there at the corner panel, but Matt Cucker just so good off the outside line, able to power off, like you mentioned, not really pushing him down, but he's got that run on the outside, and Jeremy Adams just cannot seem to beat it.
He's gotten there, and if you're leaving the door open, then you're going to tempt him to do something, but you can't really move somebody out of the way on the left rear quarter panel. That tends to just kind of take him out. If you're going to go for the bump and run, you got to kind of line it up and make that a little bit of contact once you get to about a third of the way through the quarter. So I think Adams is in a really tricky spot here. I don't think he's somebody who will wreck Matt Cucker for this win. Again, the 89 has a comfortable gap over him at points, but you see there, very gentle on the left rear, but it really upset Cucker's car. So he's experimented with how physical he can get as they go at it again, coming to 5 laps to go this time.
The battle back here for 6th place was very heated, with the number 96 and 3 side by side for a few laps, but that number 3 lost his handling a little bit and got a little bit sideways, jumping back up to the front between Matt Cucker and Jeremy Adams. Number 89 gets a little loose coming out of that corner. Very, very intense racing going up front, very close to the bumper. The 89 gives him the chrome horn. Very, very close call right there. These cars might not get a little easily upset, but still you can spin him out going at these speeds. Number 89 gonna get to his quarter panel. Very close racing up front indeed. As we are winding down the laps, it is very, very close.
3 laps to go. The battle is ongoing. Adams has experimented a couple of times. I think he's got to him twice. The age-old saying goes, 3rd time's a charm. He's really leaning on him, though, as Adams digging that time at 2.
He got really loose coming out of there. He's running out of time as we got popsicle sticks in the air, trying to combine 2 words at once, just like you, Evan, there. But now he's got a rebound, try to get back to the inside line once again, and it just does not look promising because we see Matt Cucker drive off of turn 2, and now Jeremy Adams in the wall. So definitely looking bleak for the 89 machine of Jeremy Adams. He would need a huge mess up from Matt Cucker as he comes out of turn 4 to take the white flag, this time by 1 more lap to go.
And the 89's going to have to drive it in, but he drives just too hard and 1. That car plows, and ironically enough, the last lap of this race is going to have the biggest gap of the evening. It clear to turns 3 and 4. Matt Cucker showing absolute dominance tonight. 3 for 3, your straight stock winner from Myrtle Beach.
As we saw the 89 give 69 a little love tap right there. That was a fantastic race between the two. 89 could not get the job done, though. Very, very close racing, as we still have more racing to come later tonight.
I think that's the bump he was hoping that he could give to him earlier on, but just wasn't close enough to the bumper to be able to execute as such. And unfortunately, if you're rooting for the 89 camp, too little too late in this exchange. Over something tells me that these folks are far from done with as far as battling and competing for wins in races, not only on the year, but maybe even tonight specifically as well from Myrtle Beach. Well, again, as he's parked down there at Victory Lane, have an opportunity to stick a microphone in his face. Before we do, let's take a look top to bottom at your LSRTV full race results for tonight's street stock main event. Matt Cucker takes home the win 0.3 of a second in front of Jeremy Adams. Those two, though, the dominant cars on the night, well out and in front of 3rd place on the back, which includes the likes of Brandon Wilkinson at P3, pole sitter Jonathan Smith at 4th, and Kyle Everalt in 5th.
6th goes to Jacob Porter, 7th Jeremy Watkins, Tanner Cook started 2nd, finishes in that 8th place position. Rory Blum goes 9th, 10th Brad Carpenter, Will Dravicki out 6 laps down, will come home in 11th.
That is a look top to bottom at your LSRTV full race results. What appears to be a post-race tradition. We go trackside with the driver of the number 69 machine, Matt Cucker, down 3 for 3 from Myrtle Beach. Matt, congratulations again. This one looked like you had more control over that car, but the problem was you had a guy right lockstep with you. Jerry Adams would just not let you go and made it a little bit dicey there at times. Couple of shots to the left for good measure.
Yeah, I mean, this was Jeremy's race, no doubt. He's always been faster than me in the street stocks. It's just whoever gets out front first is it's really hard to pass. And once he started getting there and he was diving it in on me, I started talking in TeamSpeak, and I know it messes him up. I'm like, oh, how do you do that? How do you do that? And then with 2 laps to go there, I think he just overdrove it a little bit, and I was able to get that little bit of lead on him, and then he couldn't catch back up. But it was definitely his race to have, and I mean, he drove me clean, and if he would have moved me, I would have expected it, and that's part of the street stock racing, so it was a blast, though.
Knowing that, you know, the contact may come, you seemed pretty confident, though, on, I'm not really sure it was the outside line, because you really weren't way up there, but it certainly was at the bottom, about a car length off of the inside. It gave him the bottom. Even if he wasn't on your inside, you were giving him an opportunity to get down. That kind of put you in a vulnerable position, because if you really wanted to, as we were just discussing, he could get to that left rear quarter panel. What was it about that lane a little bit off of the bottom that was worth that gamble?
The momentum off the corner is what I could get on him. With him down below me, I could keep that momentum like on the outside, and it'd pull me down the straightaway, and then he'd have to fall back in line. He couldn't stay there, so that's why I was running that. And if I went down bottom, I would just get too tight down there by the wall and down by the rumble strips in turn 1. It just got way too tight on me, and there was nothing I could do about it. So I figured if I'd run up here, at least that I can control it a little bit better and take that momentum and keep carrying it.
You say that these straight stocks have definitely been Jeremy's go-to division. You now tie him with wins in this division, with both of you now ranking in 4 on the season, and you have won 4 of the last 5. So what does that go to say maybe about your execution in these races, given the fact that you think he might be a little bit quicker in these cars than you?
I mean, they're his setups. I can't really make these street stock setups go that well. The late model, the regular late model stock, I can make pretty well, but he makes these street stock setups really good. And like he sent me one the other week that I won, and that's the same one I ran tonight with just a little bit of change in the right rear spring, and it was a blast. The car handled great, but it's all up to him for these street stocks. I wouldn't be running up front here without their setups.
We've seen you do something like this already this season. Back a couple of weeks, you guys were able to win all the races on the night. That one had 2 double features, though. You won both late model races, both Chargers division, and both street stocks. So far, so good. You got the win in the late models, the Chargers, and the street stocks. Do you guys feel like you're in a position to do that again?
I mean, well, you got the trucks that got to run and stuff, but I mean, for the divisions that we're running, it's going to be tough. The late model stock, especially, starting back there. With I don't know what the invert was, but we'll be back there pretty far, and there's a lot of good people that'll be up front now because they didn't have that good a run in the first one. So we'll see what happens. I mean, we're gonna try it, and if we do it again, hey, that's a gamble. I mean, I don't see it happening. I mean, I really didn't see the last time it happening, but I mean, this one's really gonna be hard though.
Well, I hope that you enjoy that little bit of a breather before you get back to it. As always, the sponsors and the shout-outs. Who makes that 69 go so fast?
Definitely Jeremy, especially for the street stock. Jeremy and GlobalCom, I analyze. It's been a blast so far this year.
Been fun watching it, Matt. Congratulations on another win. Best of luck down the line as you guys look to keep doing what you're doing. It's working out, so we'll see you then.
Alrighty, thank you guys.
So we're halfway through the night as the straight stocks come to a close. Still 3 races to come. That means an LSRTV into iRacing Live. Late models are going to return. The U-Cars division is back, but first, Super Trucks back on track for what's going to end up being the 4th week in a row. And you're not going to want to miss that 40-lap main event. It's next on LSRTV and iRacing Live. You're watching the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series presented by the Championship Esports Association.
When I was 16 years old, I was working at a Goodyear tire store, and my boss actually built an old dirt car, street stock Monte Carlo. Went with him one night, fell in love with it. It was a hell of a race, hell of a party, and a big fight afterwards. I was like, this is it. This is it for me. It wasn't long after that, I was driving an old 78 Camaro out of the weeds at that guy's farm. We pulled that thing out and made a race car out of it, and away we went. You know, I think a driver has more to do with the equation going back and racing dirt, whether it's a modified, a late model. You can do more with the race car. You know, the harder you drive it, a lot of times, the better it goes. You can crawl up on that wheel and feel like you made the difference at the end of the night. Asphalt car, you can't overdrive them. Well, that was the first thing that I had to learn right off the bat is, oh my gosh, I've got to discipline myself, not overdrive this thing, and that's how you get the most out of it. Truth be told, communicating the right information to your crew and your crew chief so they can do their job and make their appropriate adjustments for you to go faster and do your job is probably 90% of the game in our world. I've always loved late models. You know, my dream was to be a late model driver driving for a living across the country like Daryl and Don do that drive for me. I mean, that was, truth be told, that was my dream, you know. I always wanted a semi. I always wanted a stacker trailer with 2 hot rods in it, and let's go racing. Let's take off with your buddies and go race and chase that dream. Never in a million years did I think it would turn into a Cup Series, and I actually have an opportunity to own 2 you know, dirt late model teams. When you think of iRacing, you don't think of a video game. It's not. It's way above and beyond any of that. You know, dirt racing changes so much. The track changes so much. Being able to capture that, to, you know, experience all those details that surround dirt racing and make dirt racing what it is what makes iRacing so cool, because they did nail all of that. I knew when they came to our shop and scanned cars and went to the detail of getting that car right, I knew that it was going to be over the top, because it blew my mind just the work that went into making sure the car itself was legit. This sport has been around a long time. The competition can't be replaced, and that's what brings people back to the racetrack week in and week out.
We're back live from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. You're watching LSRTV's continuing coverage of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series presented by the Championship Esports Association on your home for sim racing and iRacing Live. The night is still somewhat young as we work into the second half of tonight's programming. Super Trucks due up, and just as we discussed earlier in the Chargers Chris 40-lap main event, longest on the night. I love the trucks. They are the biggest things we see on this small track all night long. It's always a fun one, and this is a series that has recently been dominated by the likes of Christian Peterson. He has taken home 4 wins recently. James Krahula, Tommy Ron, the only other 2 drivers to break into victory lane. But the way that these races are always so unpredictable, always leaves that door wide open for somebody else to try to break in and take one.
English is hard there, Evan, but we're missing 2 of our main competitors here tonight, 2 drivers that aren't up on the schedule, Jeremy Adams and Matt Cucker. They'll be with us in the next race. But for this one, you mentioned it, Christian Peterson on top had a little bit of trouble early on tonight in that late model race where he got into the wall and then ended up on his lid, looking to rebound just a little bit from that one, and he's looking to do it with this invert in his way as well.
And with that, the short warm-up session is done. Trucks are on track again, by that top 7 invert rule as we discussed earlier. So 1 through 7, going to be actually 7 through 1 on speed. But here is a look top to bottom at your LSRTV starting grid. A couple of drivers to go to the back. We'll give you that information once it happens, but at least on paper, it shows Tanner Cook, who will roll from pole position into the 96 machine. He'll be joined on the outside of the front row by the 35 of Joshua King. Tommy Ryan inside row 2 starts the ninth race in third with Gabe Wood to the outside of P4, and DJ Beverly rounds out our top 5.
Going in 6th, that's the 15 of Ricky Harden. Christian Peterson going to be starting at the back of this invert in 7th. 8th goes to Matthew Tucker. Kevin Scott going to be 9th. Jody Green 10th. 11th, Jacob Porter. And 12th, Randy Yoakum.
That's how the rack 'em and stack 'em, at least on the pit lane. EOL penalties are going to go out to the following drivers: Randy Yoakum, Tommy Ryan, and Jody Green. So those drivers are going to have to drop to the back, and that'll shuffle things up mid-pack. Ryan's absence in third is going to be that DJ Beverly gets a spot on the inside of row 2, but it does not change the front row. So Tanner Cook will bring us to the green flag.
Yeah, it's going to be a big impact on Tommy Ryan as he has to go all the way to the back, so he's going to have to fight his way back up to the front as we see Tanner Cook up front, so that's going to be helpful for him. But starting on that outside, I'm looking to try and take that lead. Coming out of 2 will be Joshua King, so that's going to be a preferred lane for him. And we have 40 laps on tap, one of the longest races of the night, so we're going to see how these guys deal it out at the end of this.
Pace car going to drop down as we get set to go green as of this time by from Myrtle Beach. These trucks, again, not necessarily designed for a joint like this, but it sure is fun when they get out there. They like to fight over real estate. We'll see how that plays into this race as Tanner Cook is getting set to come to the restart box. He has to wait on the drop of the green flag before he can put the right foot down, and he does, racing in the Super Trucks.
96 of Cook looking on the inside and looking strong, but look at the 35 of Josh King. Rockets off the turn 2 there. Evan not going to quite clear the 96 of Tanner Cook. Will he get the same run out of 4? He does. To the lead, Josh King, and look at the 09 of Gabe Wood on the outside, looking towards the outside of the 96 of Tanner Cook, I should say. Just behind them, Harden and Beverly doing battle. That is for the 4th place position. So battles all over the place early on. Evan is Josh and King to the lead, in contact between Gabe Wood and the 96 of Tanner Cook. Gabe Wood is in the wall just a bit, but everybody seems to be making it out through safe.
He leaned on him and then some coming off of the quarter, and Gabe Wood got the left side damage from the contact, and it also scraped up the right side of that car as well by getting into the fence, although that second piece of contact was not all that bad, thankfully. Could have ended up a lot worse. And 2 drivers on the outside of the racetrack are going to pass pole sitter Tanner Cook and go to the top 2 positions in this one. So the top for the first time tonight may be the preferred lane.
While that action was happening up there, 43, 6, and 9 are battling it out in the back, and 43 a few laps ago did get loose coming out of turn 2, so showing that this is not the easiest car to handle on this track. Very interesting stuff back there for battling. The number 42 and 15 back up front, battling side by side for that 4th place position. It's getting very, very intense up there as they still have more than 30 laps to go. It's very interesting up here in the front as well.
And fighting is throughout with the 42, the 15, the 23, all going at it. Looks like Beverly going to find a spot in line, and Ricky Harden is going to be, I was going to say trap top side, but that might actually not be a terrible thing, but because it's Peterson on the bottom, I got to think that that 23 machine's able to dig a little bit more. Coming into tonight in the Super Trucks for this championship, Christian Peterson leads by an overwhelming 57-point margin to a 3-way tie for second. between Krahula, Hardin, and Beverly. The 23 truck has taken home 5 of the 7 wins so far this year, but he's not really plowing through the pack. He's taking his time, either by design or just by the nature of the beast, but he's in P5 at the moment, trying to get some more and struggling to clear the 15 as they made contact that time in 1 and 2, and Peterson upset the truck.
All over those rumble strips in turn 1 and 2, Evan, and that will really upset this truck, and you just saw it there coming on the back straightaway. Loses a bunch of time to Ricky Hardin, but this invert, Evan, doing exactly what it's designed to do, and that's to make it harder for the 23. As a caution spinning in front of him, looks like Gabe Wood and maybe others involved in that.
Race leader Joshua King, the 35. Wow, Gabe Wood was chasing him down, and I don't know if he was trying to get in line behind him or if he was just trying to get up next to him, but he tagged him on the left rear quarter panel, and Joshua King is disposed of from the race lead, and a yellow flag flies.
Yeah, absolutely. Very close racing as we see, close quarters in the short track racing. And, if you get to that quarter panel, it's going to be very interesting to see how that all works out for everybody. In that case, it just didn't work out for either of them, and we'll see them fall to the back of the pack.
To be a quick yellow flag exchange, we will get set to go back green flag racing as the next time by. Cone car out. The 96 of Tanner Cook is going to assume the race lead from third because King drops to the back because he was the yellow flag cause in the sim. And then Gabe Wood is going to get sent to the back for being the cause of the caution as per the perspective of the tower. So all of a sudden, the door's open for Peterson. Peterson was struggling. He's going to be the inside of row number 2. It's going to be Tanner Cook and DJ Beverly on the front row. So they come side by side, coming out of turn number 4 this time. Control car is able to get a little bit of a jump. Watch for the restart box, and 96 is off and away as we get back at it. Good jump. Leave it a fight for second. A couple of truck lengths behind him.
And look at DJ Beverly struggling on the start, and just behind him, Randy Yoakum sideways. The 43 of Matthew Tucker. Joshua King once again piling into it as another caution's out before we even exit turn 2, Evan.
I don't know if the 4 was trying to change lanes. It's not something that we had seen since earlier on tonight with the Chargers, but that car just got sideways at a turn number 2, and I mean, you put yourself sideways in front of the pack, Trevor. There's nothing that you could expect somebody like that 43 machine of Matthew Tucker to do. It's his line. If he turns right, he hits somebody else. If he goes straight, he hits you. And a couple of drivers get damaged in addition to him. I think also maybe Kevin Scott might have got tagged. So single car spin turns into about 3-4 drivers picking up some bit of damage there. Slows us down once more.
Absolutely, it was a lose-lose for the number 43 car of Matthew Tucker, and you can't get away in those kinds of situations when your car just comes down right below you, and it's a short track, so you don't have a lot of time to react, and easily can turn into a parking lot of cars. So cautions breed caution. So we've gotten 2 back-to-back cautions so far, so we'll see how many more we can wrap up in this super truck main event.
Still shy of halfway. Again, the distance in this super truck go at it is 40 laps. Is the longest race on the night, equidistance to what we saw earlier tonight in the Chargers. The Chargers went by pretty quickly, though, to be honest. So the trucks take it a little bit more time. There is a time limit imposed on these races. As always, all the races have a time limit imposed. We typically just simply don't bring it up because of the fact that it's not typically a factor, but should note that almost 9 minutes complete of the 20-minute clock at lap 15 of 40.
At just 15, now 16 of 40, as they're still pacing under the yellow flag, trying to get everything sorted out. Tanner Cook really doing a great job on those restarts, Evan. He's really surprising me as he's, just rocketing off of everybody. DJ Beverly doing good. Christian Peterson kind of moved up a few positions off of that wreck, but hasn't really been able to challenge for the lead all that much, and I think it's all the credit to that invert that really held him back. But now he's going to be up there. He's going to have the leader in his sights as Tanner Cook selects the outside lane coming to the green flag. So we'll have to see what that 23 machine Christian Peterson has on this restart.
Once again, once upstairs, he was very good there. On our last go at it, we slowed him down before we saw much of a fight. Let's see if the 96 can get that jump once more. If not, he won't be happy with the exchange of the yellow. He's getting his bumper beat up on the 42 of Beverly says, let's go. I think Cook wanted to mix it up a little bit, hold them longer. It did not work. He got hit by the 42 a couple of times. He'll lead at turn number 2, but not by nearly as much.
As we see that number 42's back end all bent up along with the number 6's front end, but it's a short track, so aerodynamics do not really matter as much. All you need to do is get that foot down and get inside of the next car. As we see the number 96 taking off, trying to get away from that pack. As we see the number 15 and the number 23, that's good news for the 96. That's going to let him get away a little bit longer. 23 of Christian Peterson trying to get back up to the front. We have single file down. Oh, 96 going to get a little sideways.
That's your race leader. Second time tonight, the race leader goes around. This one was all alone at the halfway point. Tanner Cook. Car just pushed up the hill out of nowhere. It was sideways coming in, and he had to obviously correct the steering on that thing, and your race leader just lost it on his own in turn 3. Wow.
Yeah, and it's sort of what we've seen from, Randy Yoakum just one caution ago. Evan, he kind of got up way high out of the groove, so to speak, on the track and really just spun it around. But a quick caution coming out as the cone car zoomed by the rest of the field, going to get set up to see where everybody is. But now that's going to put Ricky Harden and Christian Peterson on the front row.
Cook is going to go all the way to the back to P12. He's not the only driver who's had an issue as such tonight. The likes of Joshua King, who's led laps in this race, is back at 8th. Gabe Wood, who had issues and got kicked to the back as well for turning your race leader, is made up some time. He's in P7. But none of them have been able to get all the way back up topside. And here you go now, Ricky Harden in a tricky spot. You've assumed the race lead. He chooses the outside of the racetrack, but Christian Peterson, Truck Series Championship leader, is going to be on the inside of the front row. That's going to be a hefty challenger if he can keep it nose in there as they head side by side out of 4. And look to keep it side by side to turn number 1. Green flag is back in the air, and Peterson sticks with him.
We see the number 23 trying to edge out that number 15, but we've seen that high side get a good run. Not going to happen right now. 23 still able to edge him out. Christian Peterson, the championship points leader, trying to get that win for win number 6 on the season. And the 23 able to almost clear him coming out of turn 2. Now he's still at the corner panel, it appears. So we're going to see a little bit more fighting of side-by-side action as we look further back into the field. The number 9 and number 13 still battling it out side-by-side as well. The number 96 going to get loose again off of turn 4, wrecking very on his side. That was a very close call. No caution out as he doesn't impact the rest of the field. Very close call for the rest of the field, though.
Tanner Cook almost flipped on his own to beat out Christian Peterson. Does clear Ricky Harden for the race lead and takes this thing over now. And it is a frenzy, and the 6 of Tommy Ryan bounces up and tags DJ Beverly. It's going to be contact in turns 1 and 2. It looked like that truck hit one of those curbs, Chris, and got airborne. I haven't seen anything like it.
It was really a crazy wreck and a late caution coming out as now everybody's slowing down, but we'll try to get this replay up for you as that was crazy. We saw it get a little bit upset as Christian Peterson went through him early on in this race, but that's the first time I've seen a car basically act like it had some hydraulic system up there, because that car just shot to the side, almost flipped. Tommy Ryan did, but able to catch the car's balance off of the 42, unfortunately, of DJ Beverly, and just huge wreck. Lucky nobody else was really involved in that.
And the only thing I can think of is, again, we've said don't go over those curves. Pretty big. That's the reason they're there, is to deter you from going down onto that flat part below the white line. But I've never seen a car react like that, Trevor. And the only thing that I can think of, because even when that incident happened, a 15 and a 3 drove over the curbs to avoid the 6 whose front end was in the air. The only thing I can think of is that because Tommy Ryan had some of that front end damage, that splitter was pushed down a little bit closer to the racetrack and might have dug in more so to the car at its typical ride height.
Absolutely. That was a very interesting situation that they had. Very, very, I don't know how to explain it, and that a lot of damage to that number 6. That's most likely what happened indeed. You know, you got to watch out for those curbs. As we were talking earlier in the night, it's going to bite you at some point, and now it is bitten the number 6 of Tommy Ryan, and that was absolutely incredible to watch.
Just listening in with race control, just trying to maybe get a better understanding of what that yellow flag was for, because we saw the contact that we've been talking about, and then there was a second piece of contact as well. Tanner Cook ended up at the outside wall again, so he is, well, I guess what started out as a good night is really falling apart, and when it rains it pours, as the age-old saying goes. So a tough break for him. So did want to note that he also got some damage. Just over 6 minutes left of the clock, this time by 10 laps left to go for the Myrtle Beach Speedway. I think we should be able to squeak this one in time, and then Peterson's up front. Chris, anybody have anything for him?
Well, we've seen him struggle with the 15 of Ricky Harden, and Ricky Harden actually going to be on that outside line, and you see Christian Peterson, who is someone like his teammate Matt Cucker that frequents that outside line. It's kind of been deadly tonight, Evan, so he's going to elect to take the safe bottom lane here in the trucks. But I'm going to say if anybody's going to have anything for him, it's going to be the 15 of Ricky Harden, maybe even Gabe Wood. Gabe Wood has been up towards the front just a little bit. He's back there in that 3rd position. So green flag about to come out here with 10 laps to go. Anything's possible.
We are doubled up. It is a super truck main event. Yeah, this one plays out as we go back at it. The 23 wanted to restart on the inside. Harden's there. They will single file for the top 2 spots in quarters 1 and 2. Gabe Wood now going to fight with Porter for 3rd. He's got it.
Very close racing up front on that restart. 23 still able to edge out that number 15, and we're going to look further back in the pack between that number 9 and 3. Very close as well. Number 13 also trying to make something happen, trying to get that top side working for that number 13 car, but isn't able to make it happen, and very close racing as well.
Spread out all of a sudden, quite contrary to what we've seen over the better part of this race. I think in fact, Chris, we're seeing separation top to bottom. So after all of the side by side and the 3 wide and the rubbing and beating on each other, maybe there's just no fenders left to do that.
There's definitely no fenders and no tires left, because we've seen people slide. We've seen Tommy Ryan get airborne off of the curbs. We've seen everything pretty much in the super truck race. People have exhausted everything they have to give in this race. We're going to start seeing a battle for the 3rd place position shape up here as Jacob Porter got a huge run off the corner trying to inch down Gabe Wood, but laps are really winding down here. 5 laps to go, and Christian Peterson pulling 6/10 away from Ricky Harden and basically running away with this thing.
Trying to set sail into the sunset 4 more times around, this time by 0.6 of a second, and the caution flag will fly, and we will have another restart. It's DJ Beverly on the back straightaway. Looks like in turn number 2, cheated the inside a little bit, got the curbs. It didn't put the front end of the truck in the air, but it definitely upset the Hot Wheels entry. He spins it around, and we will have a late race restart on the back bumper of Christian Peterson.
Yeah, earlier on, a few laps earlier, number 42 and 4 did get together coming out of turn 2, and that did upset the number 42 earlier. So he was trying to make up that time, and you know, you're just trying to cut that corner as quick as possible, trying to get to that car in front of you, and that sometimes, you know, you got to push more than you have, and you find out the hard way that you can't make that happen.
What was all but guaranteed for Peterson now has one last plot twist, and what I think is interesting here as we come to the green, Peterson restarted inside last time. It worked out pretty good. He's going to go to the top side of the racetrack. If Harden can stay with it, he could be a headache for the 23 machine if he can stay on his inside in the center of the quarter, because it puts that car on the outside very vulnerable. We'll find out, though. 38 laps complete for the Myrtle Beach Speedway, and just 2 laps left to go in the Super Trucks.
Ricky Harden getting just the restart he needs to be that pain that you said. Lap 39 of 40, Ricky Harden there on the inside. Not going to matter because Christian Peterson shoots off of turn number 2 and gets the lead back from Ricky Harden. Meanwhile, behind them, battle for third, Jacob Porter, Gabe Wood going at it. The white flag in the air, Christian Peterson leads.
Peterson was good and Harden was there, but he just didn't have enough to keep it locked to the inside. A battle for third, going to go in favor of Gabe Wood. He in the 3, though, going to fight this one out to the end, but Christian Peterson out in front. He's going to add to a series high championship lead, and it is win number 6 in the Super Trucks for Christian Peterson.
That was a fantastic restart by Christian Peterson, choosing that top side, and then off of turn 2, just rockets off of that back, or off turn 2, able to pass the number 15 of Ricky Harden and just set sail for the rest of the laps remaining. Very, very intense and very weird Super Trucks main event, so only looking forward to the last 2 races coming up.
It definitely had a couple of quirks here and there, late race restarts. You know, you can never simply get away with somebody having a couple of tenths out in front at the end of one of these things. There's always a way to make it a little bit more exciting, and we saw that with this one. But those trials and tribulations, even switching up what row he wanted to start on, inside or out on that final restart, none of that was enough to dethrone to Peterson, and he's your first race winner tonight, not named Matt Cocker, although to be fair, Chris 69 not competing in this truck series at all, but it goes to prove that Christian Peterson likes these trucks. If you look at the other divisions, Legends is a 19-point difference, U-Car is about the same, Mini Stocks are 9, and the biggest spread is straight stocks, 27 points between first and second. That's not even half of the gap that Peterson has over Grahula in these Super Trucks, and he adds to it tonight. Utter domination.
It really is. He knows how to work these short tracks, and he really knows how to work these trucks, and it's just like you said, he was fast from everywhere. He ran that bottom for so long, and then to throw a curveball at the mix and run the top line at the very, very end just shows that he can do it from anywhere. Christian Peterson, what a win for him tonight.
Well, the good news for Christian Peterson is that his chirps and his, his curveballs are better than those of Yu Darvish, and he was able to get the win in this one. We'll chat with him momentarily. First, we take a look top to bottom at your full race results. Christian Peterson gets the win. At the end of it all, it was just a smidge under a second over top of Ricky Harden, who comes home in second position. Gabe Wood with a solid third-place finish. That one went down to the end. Only 5 1,000ths in a side-by-side fight across the line to hold out a Jacob Porter, who came home 4th, and Matthew Tucker to round out our top 5.
Jody Green 6th, 7th goes to Tanner Cook, 8th goes to Joshua King, Tommy Ryan 9th, 10th Kevin Scott, DJ Beverly goes in 11th, 12th to Randy Yoakum, but the night's not over yet, and neither is that game.
That is remaining to be determined. Still 2 races left to go tonight. It is valid point. Let's go trackside and chat with your race winner in this one. Christian Peterson once again on top in the Super Truck division. And we're down with the driver of the 2-3. Christian, congratulations on the win. You guys started mid-pack courtesy of the invert, and I don't know, they had me sweating up here because at least early on that truck really wasn't flying through the field. You were still in about 5th position up until about a third of the way through. A couple of guys wreck out in front of you. That bumps you up a row, and then it seemed like you guys kind of flipped the switch. What was the concept in this race? We're trying to conserve while also making up those spots.
Yeah, I actually brought out a new piece this week truck here, so it didn't seem to come in. The tire pressures were a little different, springs were a little different, a bunch of stuff was different, so it didn't seem to come in until like lap 10, 15, and that's when it really started to turn. I freed it up, but I wanted to keep it snug for the beginning of the run, and this race was a little bit longer than the last 2 weeks, so that's what I was going for, and just trying to get a little bit of adjustability into the setup instead of just having to throw track bar into it every week, but it seemed to work good there at the end, and I don't know if it'll work so well for like the quick 25 lappers if we have any more of those this season in this car, but if we have any longer races, I'll definitely be using this one.
I think that a benefit that you have, obviously, being successful in these is you have a little bit of more opportunity, I'd say, over some of the guys to try things out, to be a little bit experimental. After tonight with your win, 6th in these trucks out of 8 races, obviously getting the job done on a consistent basis. Your lead in the points is going to be more than 60. That leads all divisions in this Myrtle Beach Simulation Series. In fact, it is twice the gap compared to the next closest margin, which is a 27 points between first and second in the street stock. So obviously you've got these trucks figured out, and it looked like even tonight, though, despite the fact that the truck had it, those guys were still there with you. But at the end of the day, the key thing is that no matter what happens in the first third of the race, the first half of the race, you guys are able to find victory lane, it seems, very consistently.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this thing, definitely you need it to be able to I feel like I do well in this thing particularly because, first of all, it's open setup, so you can adjust it to how you like it. And then, I don't know, I have adjusted to where like I can run both lanes really well. So no matter what lane's dominant, you know, for everybody, I can try to use the other one. And I think that's the main thing. But other than that, it's just trying to find the speed where everybody else isn't. So that's what I've been trying to do with this, and the power really helps because especially at this track, you have the invert. If you're fast, you're going to be starting, you know, maybe 6th back, depending on what the invert is. So you got to pass at least that many cars. So you got to be able to turn, and with the power that the truck has and the power to weight ratio that the Legend car has, you can really like make moves on the bottom off turn 4, and I think that helps. That helps me a lot, being able to get through the field.
And making moves tonight, you were inside on a restart, outside on a restart. The result was the same, and that was that 23 machine. Pull it off and away in front. We'll let you take off. We still got some racing to go this evening. As always, though, the sponsors and the shout-outs. Who makes it happen for you?
Same as always, just everybody at Vincier, 6-Man, Beast Racing, everybody at Championship Esports Association and LSRTV for the show that they put on. I enjoy going back and watching the races, either while I'm falling asleep tonight or the next day or whatever it may be. But I know the guys, everybody who watches it enjoys it, and I think we put on a good show. So stick around for the next race here, and be a good one.
I can assure you that your guys' effort that you put in tonight ensures plenty of TV time for the number 23 truck. Christian, always appreciate you giving us the time. Congratulations again. Best of luck down the road. I'm sure we'll chat soon.
Thanks, guys.
That's Christian Peterson. He is your Super Trucks Division winner. Coming up next, part 2 of our twin late model feature races. The Blue Ridge Napa Late Model Division is back for 35 laps. It is the penultimate race on week number 9 of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series. It's all coming up next on LSRTV and Our Racing Live. Keep it tuned. Welcome back to week number 9 of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series presented by the Championship Esports Association. It is the Austin Designs week number 9, and we're happy that you're still with us on LSRTV and iRacing Live. 4 races down, 2 to go. The U-Cars division is back. That'll be in just a little bit, but before then, our Twin Debate events wrap up second time around in the Blue Ridge Napa Late Models division, and as always, coverage of the Blue Ridge Napa Late Models division is brought to you by Blue Ridge Napa, Fort Chiswell, Virginia. Napa is your trusted source for automotive parts, accessories, and know-how for your car, truck, or SUV. You can shop online for original OEM and replacement parts today at napaonline.com. Earlier tonight, we saw the checkered flag go to Matt Cucker. He is 3 for 3 in the races in which he has started tonight. He looks to take both the main events, but a week ago, Chris, he tried the same thing, won the first one, but Tommy Ryan snatched the second one. We'll see if Cucker can do it again this time.
Well, tonight seems a little bit like week 4, Evan. We alluded to it a little bit before, but Matt Cucker has won every night, or every race tonight that he has participated in, and I hate to be that guy that maybe spoils it, but this would, if Matt Cucker was to get this race done right here, he would be the first driver to do it 2 times in this first Myrtle Beach Simulation Series season. So I don't know if he's really thinking about that. Maybe it's in the back of his mind that he could sweep another week, but for Matt Cucker, all he needs to do is go out there and drive, and I'm pretty sure he can do just that.
Cars are on track. Let's take a look at a long list, top to bottom, at your LSRTV starting grid. The invert is going to be the top 12. So 12th place in our earlier main event starts first. First place in our earlier main event starts back in 12th. Looks like maybe one driver absent, so it'll be top 11. But up front for this one, pole position ends up in the hands of Ricky Harden. He will bring us to the green flag tonight, accompanied by the 31 of Brad Carpenter in second. Rory Blum and Charlie Melvin going to make up row 2. That's third and fourth, respectively, with Joshua King to round out the top 5. P6 tonight, Tyler Lugovic is going to be outside of row 3. Back on row 4, Tommy Ryan and Kyle Everall to 7th and 8th position, with Tanner Cook in 9th and Jeremy Adams to round out the top 10. Continuing the dribble on through, Matt Cucker, winner earlier tonight, ends up 11th. But I mean, he's on the inside of row number 6. He's accompanied by Jeremy Watkins, who starts in 12th. Brandon Wilkinson gets the unlucky number 13 starting spot tonight, although Halloween was yesterday. Would have been a little bit more unlucky. We'll see if he can do something for the inside of row 7. Jody Green outside in 14th. Jonathan Smith is 15th, along with DJ Beverly in 16th, and then also Will Dravicki and Gabe Wood make up row 9, 17th and 18th, with Christian Peterson 19th, Randy Oakham 20th, with Jacob Porter 21st, and Connor Blaze 22nd. It's a look top to bottom at your LSRTV starting grid. Again, lights are ready out on top of the iRacing.com official pace car. 35 laps. In these Blue Ridge Napa late models, we saw them open up tonight when there was a little bit of sun peeking through the clouds. The sun has gone down, the lights have come on, and we will see if somebody inside of the top 10 can take advantage of the top 11 invert as Cucker's way back on road number 6. Here we come into turn number 4 for your twin main event on the evening. American Ethanol green flag, and we're off.
Number 31 and 15 battling it out. 54 and 72 also trying to get into that mix. 15 just running away with it as we see the 31 and 54 single file it out. Looking further back in the pack, the number 24 and the number 6 of Tommy Ryan still battling it out side by side, along with the number 7 and 69 of Matt Cucker trying to get through it all. The mess, 3 wide now on the back stretch. I don't know how long that's going to last for on the short track.
A lot of space, but these guys are making it work for the time being, and when you have just this large of a field, I'd say pretty consistently twice the size of any other division in the MBSS, is that you're going to have more side-by-side. It's just a product of more race cars than a racetrack. The 72 of Blum, though, bad that time into turn 2. The car who was 4th is going to end up at about 9th position or so, as they even make a little bit of contact off the turn.
Making quite a bit of contact as now Cucker looks to the inside of Joshua King, trying to get by that 35 machine, making quick work of Joshua King. Look at this, still side by side, can't really get past that 35 machine. We saw him, you know, tough in the super trucks. Looks like he's carrying that over a bit. Now Matt Cucker able to get by him just a little bit, has his sights set on Jeremy Adams. Jeremy Adams actually in front of Matt Cucker for the first time tonight, and he likes to keep it that way.
Up front, though, it's not as, you know, as much of a story as it is back in the pack with the chaos and the 2 and 3 wide. We've been single file for the better part of it. Harden consistently holding about a 3-4 car length advantage over Carpenter P2, Melvin 3rd, and then you start to see the movers. Tommy Ryan +3 to 4th, Jeremy Adams +5 to 5th, and Matt Cucker +5 to P6. So they really pounced on those guys who restarted at about the 2nd and 3rd rows, and your top 2 for the race earlier, both inside the top 6 now.
Absolutely. All these drivers that started back are now fighting their way up to the front, trying to get the job done to get to that first place position. 6th and 54 between Tommy Ryan and Charlie Melvin, still battling it out side by side. Just 8 laps into this main event. It is very exciting to see these two cars battle it out as we look further into the pack between number 7 and 35 leading that second pack. You got a few cars that are side by side actually. Now 7 and 35 clearing each other. 24 and 96 still side by side. 26 trying to get to that mix, thought better of it, and along with that number 10 as well. Just great battle all around on the track.
And up front, that battle you were talking about earlier, a lot's happened in the last 2 laps. The 89 and the 54 got together. Melvin ended up out of the groove, and he ends up dropping behind both Cocker and the 89. And this is a big battle right here, the 89 and the 69, because those were the 2 best cars by a long shot. They pulled a lot over 3rd place on the back, and the 54 is going to get moved by the 7 overall. But watch these 2, and Cucker gets it. That could be a deciding battle for what's 4th now, but maybe the race lead later on, and Melvin spins, and that's going to mean big issues at 1 and 2.
Big issues through 1 and 2 right as Charlie Melvin up on the outside wall parked and then takes it behind the wall. We'll get the replay up for you to see what happened. Really just a little bit of contact between him and the 7 of Kyle Everall really sent him up and going out of the corner that time. Then he gets in and gets all bent out of shape going into turn 1 and 2. Collects the back end of Joshua King, parks it, Joshua King parks it, then Tyler Lugo Vickery tries to get slowed up, gets a little bit of contact from the 23 of Christian Peterson, that sends him down. Joshua King going to try to save it, to everybody trying to squeeze through the tiniest of holes, Evan, just to escape that wreck.
Yoakum got ARCA brake to the back end by Thanani. I think it was behind him. He ends up as a back end damage, and again, oftentimes, I'd say we're, what, 3 for 3 or 4 for 4 now tonight, Trevor, where whenever we see a single car spin, it takes always more than just one car because everybody's on top of each other.
Absolutely, and it's like super speedway racing. You know, you have not a lot of room to work with, and when a wreck happens, there's no avoiding it, especially on short track and super speedway. So of course, when we're going to see a car that just single spins and a lot of people trying to find a way through a hole that really isn't there, there's going to be a lot more cars collected than there should be.
That slows things down. A lot happened in those opening 10 laps. It didn't really knock as many laps off of the board as I think these guys were hoping, because they did plenty of fighting, and at least at the moment of yellow, only a third of the way through this thing. It'll be a little bit closer to the end, but the time we go back green flag racing this time by going to be 21, I believe, laps left to go on the board with 14 laps complete. Here's how they rack them and stack them. This caution is big for the guys who, again, with the faster cars, based on the invert, trying to get up to the field. It's going to be Harden 1, Carpenter 2, and Ryan 3, but Matt Cucker 4, and Adams 5. But the drivers to keep an eye on. We'll try it again, 2 by 2, and in quarter number 4, big head start for the 15, and that's bad news for the 69 Cucker, who's stuck behind a sleeping Brad Carpenter.
And the 15 of Ricky Harden has really flipped the switch this race here, Evan. He pulled out a sizable lead during the last green flag run, and off to a great start once again is now the 31 of Brad Carpenter, and Ryan goes side by side. Ryan washes up the track, makes a tiny bit of contact with the 31. Now look at Matt Cucker diving to the inside of Brad Carpenter to take that that third place position away. Jeremy Adams trying to get around him. Jeremy Adams has a little bit of back end damage, does not seem to affect him too bad as he tries to fight off Kyle Leveralt getting held up by Brad Carpenter, who just ran the point right into the wall, barely keeping off the 7 of Kyle Leveralt, and now the 31 dropping back to the field.
Nothing short of a miracle that Kyle Leveralt makes it through that, and I don't think we're done yet. Contact the 31 to 56. These restarts just create hornet's nests. There's no way to avoid them, and while there is separation up front to the tune of almost half a second, it is chaos mid-pack. Everybody trying to get something. Gabe Wood in the 09 is sideways. We're going to go 3 wide and a 2. Somehow haven't wrecked him yet.
I was absolutely an amazing save by the number 9, and everybody behind him, 30, up into the number 10, gets a little sideways, now into the number 4, now into the number... Caution is out.
And it could only last so long. The 3 wide worked, but I think the 13 machine just overdrove the corner a little bit in Jody Green, and that pushed the 30 up into the 10, and then the 4 came through, and in a moment, we were 4 wide, and the 90 machine, Jeremy Watkins, seals the deal. A big hit. Not only gives himself, obviously, what I could expect to be terminal damage, but also really tore up the 4 of Randy Yoakum. Yoakum started going again after the incident and actually clipped the 72 machine. Not really any damage to Rory Plum, but I'm sure something that the 72 didn't really appreciate. And actually, that might have been worse than I thought. It was minor contact, but I think he might have got him in the right rear, because all of a sudden in the 72 has got some gnarly crab walk going on, and he's been forced to pit road. So that goes to show you, it doesn't have to be the hardest hit to be the worst.
And it doesn't happen, and you know, you called it with this many cars out here on the track and these restarts and how, you know, fast everybody wants to get up and going and get these positions as quick as they can. We can only really go for so long, and I was actually surprised with all the contact with Brad Carpenter and the 56 and even the 23. I was surprised we made it that long, everybody making it through, and then it really wasn't Brad Carpenter that had anything to do with it. It was all the way back with Will Dravicki, Jonathan Smith, and Randy Yoakum and company. So it can happen from anywhere, and I think we've seen that a lot in this feature right now.
We get through the first yellow, no harm, no foul, plenty of time to dance, and now we're on the flip side. Not 21 to go, this time by 21 complete. Cone car out, 50 to Hardin wants the bottom, 6 to Tommy Ryan wants the outside of the racetrack, and Matt Cucker, who was not in a good spot on that last restart because he got stuck on the outside of row number 3, rather outside of row 2, but it turned into row 3. He ends up 3rd, so he's in a great spot. He actually ends up better than Jeremy Adams, who loses 3 spots and is set to restart 7. So this race is far from over, but 22 laps going to be complete, 13 laps to go in this race. The fastest car all night's knocking on the doorstep. If you're Ricky Hardin, you got to get out, you got to get going, and you got to do it now as we go back underway.
15 edging out that number 6 car, but I'm going to looking for Matt Cooker to try and make his move very quickly. Still got a little bit of racing to go, but not a lot. He's going to have to make something happen fairly soon, as the number 69 and 6 are very close quarters. 7 going up on the racetrack a little bit, almost gets into the 96. 23 looking for a way around the number 7. Number 7 still going up the racetrack, nearly 3 wide between the 3 cars up there. Looking up towards the front again. Matt Cucker still trying to get past that number 6 and then to the back bumper of number 15. Would not be surprised to see the chrome horn a little bit contact between the number 69 and the number 6. 96 now trying to enter the fun. Oh, so close to the number 6.
Was not the means that I would have suggested, but Cucker pinched the 6 up, and it could have took both of those cars out. In the end, I guess the end result is all that you care about. 10 laps to go this time by. Matt Cucker is the highest he's been all night long. He is not the biggest mover at +9 spots. It's Christian Peterson right now, who started 19th and runs in 6th. He's passed 12 drivers so far in this race to go up 13 spots, but Cucker is on the doorstep for the race lead. He sticks it low at a turn number 4. Here we go.
And he wasn't waiting around. We saw Ricky Hardin go up high trying to block the run on the high side from Matt Cucker. Then Matt Cucker just pulled a fast one on him and went low, shoved the nose as low as it would go in 3 and 4, and now they're side by side for the race lead. Ricky Harden really trying to play spoilers to Matt Cooker's perfect sweep, but it doesn't seem like it's going to work out because Matt Cooker clears him going down into turn 1. Now Ricky Harden's got to fight off Tanner Cook, Tommy Ryan, Kyle Everall. All these drivers coming with a full head of steam behind him as Matt Cooker's got clear skies ahead. Caution's out.
Clear skies no more. Have to deal with the restart. Yellow flag for issues on the back straightaway. Jonathan Smith in the 10 and the 4 machine of Randy Yoakum get together and battle for 16th position. Yoakum just overdrove entry. He tagged the 10. And I'm going to tip of the hat to that 35 of Joshua King, who had nowhere to go. So he parked it on the back straightaway as to avoid getting into anybody else. And a 2-car incident slows us down once more. But, you know, for Ricky Harden just now losing control of the race lead in this thing, Trevin, still an impressive run again because he's first. Means he was 12th based on the invert in the earlier race. And once Cooker got to his inside, he made, I would say, relatively quick work. I feel like that's a fair analysis, but within a lap and a half he was by. But a 12th place car, quote unquote, led the opening 25 laps of this race. So Ricky Harden really putting it to these guys. Big improvements over what happened earlier this evening.
Oh, absolutely. That was fantastic run by Ricky Harden, and he's showing that he has a competitive car and a competitive driver. You know, you're going to have possibly this last restart, and you put your car in the right place, and you might have a shot at this. But Matt Cooker still very, very quick all around, and number 15 battling off that number 69, you know, it burns your tires off. So I don't know if he'll have enough tires to try to get by the number 69, but we'll see at the end of the night how it works out for him. Cone car out.
69 wants high, Harden takes low, Ryan going to go top, Cook going to go low, just as you would expect. So the odd numbered positions top side, the even numbered positions on the bottom. It's kind of an invert of what you would see without the cone car rule, and if they just racked them and stacked them up 1, 2, 3, 4, inside and out, inside and out. So this restart's going to come. 31 laps complete, 4 laps to go for the Myrtle Beach Speedway with the late model stock win hanging in the balance. Did Matt Cooker lock this out, or does Tommy Ryan, Ricky Harden, or somebody sneak back into the picture and get some late race revenge, or will this restart be not enough to overcome the 69 as we go back and away? A fantastic start for the 15.
15 there on the inside going down into turn 1 and 2, and he's going to get a little bit of an edge on Matt Cooker. Matt Cooker trying to power back on the outside, but just really sticking right there. That 15 of Ricky Harden just behind them. Tanner Cook, Tommy Ryan going at it. The 15 gets a little bit washed up going into the corner, has to lay off of it just a little bit. That's going to give the edge to Matt Cooker going down into turns 1 and 2 as he's trying, and he does clear the 15 of Ricky Harden going down the back straightaway.
Harden was just struggling too much on pushing up and contact behind. Big slide. Tommy Ryan, what a save in turn 4. It's going to take away a well-deserved top 3, but that car at least is still on track, falls to 13th position, and that breaks up any battle that we were going to have for P2. The 96 of Cook, he wants it on the action. Second to last time, though, coming out of turn number 4. For Matt Cooker up front, Harden's going to get crossed up. We do have side-by-side racing for second, and we do have side-by-side racing for fourth, and we'll watch it across the start-finish line. But Matt Cooker, 4 for 4 on the night, and he will sweep the Blue Ridge Napa Late Model Division Features.
Wrecking to the start-finish line. The number 7 gets the 15 around. Oh, into the field again. Oh, man, what a finish to the night. But congratulations to Matt Cooker. He has got himself 4 for 4. An absolutely dominating performance tonight here at Myrtle Beach Speedway.
It's a tough break for Harden. He gets passed by Cook, Wood, and Leveralt. In the distance between, I don't know, turn 4 and start-finish line, it's not much more than, what, a couple hundred feet, and he lost all that ground. So it's going to be a tough break for him without a doubt, but, you know, still a top 5. I'm sure the evening could have been worse. You could be out of this race, like I'm sure several drivers are, but exciting stuff. Unfortunately, you know, if you're rooting for anybody but Matt Cooker, it wasn't for the race lead. He was able to clear. You know, Harden just looked way too tight, trying to make that work down on the inside of the racetrack, and I think that realistically, that's what we were expecting to see. He just couldn't get back to the gas, and that really gave Cucker such a big upper hand unless he was just going to go in there and use him as a brake. This is the result that I was expecting to see.
And it was, and he did it, Evan. I alluded to it at the beginning of this feature. He is now the first driver to sweep 2 weeks. He's 4 for 4. He won every race that he participated in tonight. So well-deserved and hard-fought Blue Ridge Napa late model feature to end out the main event. What a well-deserved win by that 69 machine.
And we'll take a look top to bottom. We'll get a word with him. Your points racing has been completed on the night, but we are not done yet. The U-Cars division is still to come, so we'll talk about that championship in a moment. But as always, let's look top to bottom after the checkered flag flies. Matt Cucker goes +10. He takes home the win. Both late model division features go his way on the evening. Tanner Cook ends up second position in this, behind a big mover in this one, Gabe Wood, +15. To take home third tonight. Kyle Peralta was fourth, and Ricky Harded rounded out your top 5.
Sixth, that goes to Brandon Wilkinson. 7th, Jeremy Adams. 8th, Connor Blaze. DJ Beverly 9th, rounding out your top 10. That's Jody Green.
Finishing 11th will be Tyler Lugo Victory. Finishing 12th in that 31 machine was Brad Carpenter. 13th, Joshua King, and 35th. Finishing 14th, Tommy Ryan, and rounding out your top 15, Will Dravicki in that number 30 machine.
Final driver on the lead lap behind 16th position. It goes to Jonathan Smith, Christian Peterson, everybody else wrecked out of this race. It's Peterson 17th, Yoakum at 18th, with Jacob Porter, Rory Blum to round through the top 20. 21st is Jerry Watkins, and Charlie Melvin is 22nd. That's a look top to bottom at your LSRTV full race results. 4th time tonight. Matt Cucker is parked at number 16 on a cheated victory lane, and it's the 2nd time this evening in late model stocks. Matt, congratulations on the win. This one was the challenge that we were expecting it to be. You had to start mid-pack. You had guys like Harden who started up front and mathematically should have fallen back outside of the top 10 that held it throughout, and they did not make this one easy for you.
No, it definitely wasn't. I mean, those first couple laps after we got the initial green flag, it was wild. I mean, I didn't know what line I wanted to be in. I jumped from the top to the bottom back to the top, and it was definitely a wild one. And then finally, once I got into 4th there, I was like, all right, I need a yellow. And fortunate enough, I got a yellow right away. I'm like, yes, thank God. And then we went back green there, and I got into 3rd. And I didn't know what Tommy was going to do. I didn't know if he was going to take the outside or the inside. And once he went to the outside, I was like, all right, here we go. We're starting 3rd. Bottom side's been all right all night. And I don't know if I came up into him going down the front stretch or if he came down, but it was a scary moment. I thought we were going head on into the front stretch wall, but I was able to save it, and thanks to he backed off, and I got to thank him for that, or else we would all been done for. So thank you to Tommy for backing off. I don't know if I came up. If I did, that was my fault, but that was a wild one, especially that last restart. Ricky, he got a really good jump on me, and I didn't think I was going to be able to hold him off on the top, but it worked.
We've seen the points this season, and when I mean points, I mean, weeks here and there, and the schedule differs week to week, which is an interesting dynamic that I love to follow. But, we look back to week 4 where you guys won all 5 races, and just simply by the scheduling of what divisions are in action, your name's not going to be on every trophy, but you guys go 4 for 4, and that comes off of, I'm not sure if quiet is the right word, but only for a combined 3 wins in the last 3 weeks before tonight. And you get 4 this evening, kind of lighting a fire underneath you or something? Or was it just one of those nights where you didn't really do a whole lot different, things just clicked a little bit more so than other weeks?
I think it's when the Chargers and the Street Stock and the late model, they all run together. I think I'm more into the mood of racing that night. And when we have the races that it's only one car a night, it's like, oh man, I got to get on the computer to race one night, and then normally it don't go too good. And then when we have these weeks that I run 3 division, it's like, all right, here we go. We got to go out. I set my head into it, and I'm like, all right, we're going to win. We have to win. And then it turns out that sometimes it works, and other nights it's just like, oh, here we go.
Well, tonight it worked, to say the least. A checkered flag in the late models, in the Chargers, in the street stocks, and for added measure, another one here tonight in the late models. It is a successful evening for you guys. Second time this season. You've outclassed the field and gotten the most wins, and I would call that very much a success. And we've had plenty of opportunity to show the car on track tonight and to get your thoughts on it. But one final time to kind of put a bow tie on it all. The sponsors and the shout-outs. Who makes it happen for you and the team?
Jeremy, definitely. Team Vincier, CP, Christian. I mean, sucks to see him crash again with his computer crashing, but I mean, it's really going to take a hit on him for the points, but hopefully he can bring it back and get some more points, and hopefully he'll be able to come back up. We got to thank iAnalyze, Globalcom. I got to thank you guys for putting a broadcast on, and then Kyle Barnes and the Myrtle Beach Speedway. I mean, it's a blast.
The one downside of getting all these wins is you have to deal with us dragging you up and down all night long. But Matt, as always, we appreciate you giving the time with us this evening. Congratulations on this one. Congratulations on a successful night. And there are many weeks to come in this Myrtle Beach Simulation Series, and I'm sure we'll see you guys have nights like this down the line at some point. If it's next week or if it's in a couple of weeks, we'll be there chatting with you and shoving a microphone in your face when it comes. So we'll see you then.
Alrighty, thank you guys. It's always a blast talking with you.
That's Matt Cucker, four-time winner on this evening, and all but one race remains on the night. The U-Cars division is coming up next, and it's going to get dicey because somebody gave me and Trevor the steering wheel. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll step aside, and we will be right back to the Myrtle Beach Speedway on the other side. You're watching LSRTV's continuing coverage of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series on iRacing Live. Welcome back live to the Myrtle Beach Speedway, where our coverage of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series continues tonight. It is week number 9 at LSRTV and iRacing Live. And we head into the finale on the evening. Just wrap things up with the late model stocks. And next up is the U-Cars. As we welcome you back to LSRTV and iRacing Live. But we're mixing up where the microphones are placed in this one. Chris is going to be the lone person still standing topside in the booth. And once I flip my car, I will rejoin him up there. But in the time being, myself, Trevin, and Gabe Woods also jumping in with us here at the mics. We're racing into these things. Me and Trevin probably don't stand a chance. Gabe, you're actually relatively good at these things, so maybe we'll get some insight from you, but it'll be a fun U-Cars event to close out the evening here on week number 9, 25 laps.
Yeah, I actually qualified on the pole earlier, but...
and I did not.
I don't know how we're still getting you guys to learn the track, but I don't know where I'm going to shake out with the standings. I don't know if we did a redraw or anything, but... I mean, this car is so much fun because the difference between running up front and running in the rear is like a tenth and a half. I mean, it's just how you drive the cars, and it's so much fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to you guys racing as well.
I hope that tenth of a second is good news, Chris, as we get a set to look topside, and I get behind the wheel, and we'll see what happens. We'll see. The U-Cars are always so much fun, and you know, we've seen Coop jump in them a couple of times, and I've made a point of wanting to do it, but I didn't make enough of a point to practice ahead of time. So we'll see how it goes, and I will be well out and behind, I assume, where most of the excitement will be.
Yeah, trust me, I will definitely be laughing at you up here in the booth, but before I get to laugh at you, we must look top to bottom at tonight's full field. We got 21 cars up on the race here today. So we got Charlie Melvin starting first, Jody Green second, Gabe Wood going to be in that third place position, Joshua King going to be fourth, DJ Beverly fifth, Tanner Cook 6th, 7th, Randy Yoakum, Jeff Grayson is going to be 8th. Trevin Valderrama actually going to be in that 9th place position, back with Evan Pasoko rounding out your top 10. James Milbacher is going to be 11th. 12th, Sean Cross. Kyle Everall going to be 13th. 14th, Rory Blum. Jacob Porter 15th. Tyler Lugo Vickery 16th. 17th, Connor Blaze. Tommy Ryan 18th. 19th, Ricky Harden. Brandon Wilkinson 20th, rounding out your 21 car field. That's gonna be Kyle Barnes. So that's a look top to bottom at your mouthful of a field. Evan, is it weird yet pulling off of the grid?
The car's rolling, so we'll see what happens.
I say when you
10th is bad. Why 10th?
Well, and I don't even think 10th really matters because you guys are starting 3 wide anyway. So it just wherever you stack up in that mess is where you're going to be. Trevin, how are you feeling? You're right in front of him.
I am terrified right now.
I'm currently looking at you guys just trying to sort out what's going on because you guys are so confused. You're like lost puppies up there, not really sure what's going on. And I bet it's not any easier with race control talking and me talking over race control, so you guys can't really hear what's really going on. But
I just don't know why they put it. Why am I in the middle of the field? That's just a bad idea.
I thought they were at least going to put you guys at the back. I thought.
I was hoping. Oh,
look! You guys finally got it.
We got it. I think we got it.
I think you guys finally got it. Everybody else falling back in line. Evan, you're on the inside. That's not too bad. Can't say the same for Trevin. He's all the way up there on the outside.
It's not the middle, but I'm terrified.
Yeah, at least you're not in the middle. We're getting ready to go green here. We got Charlie Melvin, Jody Green, Gabe Wood, the top 3 up there, 3 wide as we're running on the field. Green flags out. Everybody's going. Evan and Trevin are definitely crapping their pants right now as everybody's pretty much. You're getting pushed by the 7 of Kyle Leverall. Everybody in front of you, 4 wide behind you actually, with Jacob Porter, the 56 of Connor Blaze, and the 83 just behind you guys. Up front we got Charlie Melvin up there with Gabe Wood, still 3 wide, the top 3, and now DJ Beverly looking to get into the mix. Guys, how's it looking from down there?
It is, it's really tight, and I'm on the inside here, and I'm not sure what's happening, but the 7's going to make a lane inside of me. I don't think that's a lane.
I'm regretting this decision.
He was
This is a terrible idea.
He was Evan, you're in the middle. Don't wreck anybody, Evan. Don't wreck anybody.
There are
They're
far
wrecking
too
behind you.
many
They're wrecking
cars.
behind you. Wrecking behind you. 8302 of Trevin actually gonna be wrecking behind you. Trevin,
Yeah,
you
he
all
doesn't
right?
matter. No caution. We're all right.
No
He's
caution.
all right.
Everything stays green. You're still trying to get it fixed. It's out. Get off the track there.
I'll stay to the inside.
It's a very different perspective, I'll say, down here than topside.
I would say so.
All right.
Meanwhile, up front, battle
no.
for second.
No,
They're wrecking behind you again. It's all over the place. Jody
I'm
Green.
surprised they're wrecking behind me because there's not many cars behind me.
There's really not. They're still spinning behind you. Can you see that out your mirror? Just them getting sideways.
There's so many headlights in the mirror. We don't normally need headlights because the track's always lit. So.
And remember, we were always bragging about the taillights.
Yeah. No, I can kind of see when someone's gonna brake check me. Not really, but.
Oh, contact behind Evan. Able to keep it clean.
I'm not good with the trail braking and such. It's not my forte.
Meanwhile, up front, guys, I made the pass for second, going for the lead with the 13 of Jody Green. We're about to have a good race up here.
Yeah, how's the weather up there?
It's pretty good. I'm maintaining my points lead, looking to get the UCAR championship, which means nothing.
You're chilling in second, so that's not too bad. You're gonna be able to track down Jody Green. He's
There's
way
smoke.
faster.
No.
I'm here.
I can't see. Oh
Caution's
no.
out. Caution's out. Oh, Evan's dead.
That was. There was a lot of smoke.
I just hear race control say slow down, and
There was
Evan
a lot-
plows into the back of him.
There was a lot of smoke.
And you have a lot of smoke coming out of the back of you. We'll try to get a replay up here to see.
I think the headlights worked against me there because it was just shining off of the smoke, and I hit a white car. At least the door. I think the 53
you
was
hit
white.
Joshua King there, who was spun backwards. We're gonna try to figure out what happened. Looked like Kyle Leverott got into the corner just a bit too hot. DJ Beverly was even losing it behind them just a bit. Joshua King got turned around. Everybody wrecking in front of you, and then there you come, right and smack dab in the middle of Joshua King's car, and basically end your night as well, because there is smoke coming out of the back of your car.
I can confirm that my night is done, and I am out of the race car. It was a fun 6 laps. I'll give you that. I
was a
did it.
fantastic run.
It was a valiant effort.
I wasn't really passing people, but I really wasn't losing spots either, and at least I didn't cause a wreck, so I'm happy. I got my little bit of fun. Now I'm back up into the safe confines of the booth. Is Trevin still Trevin, you in this thing?
I don't know what
Trevin was out way before you. You made it longer than Trevin. If that's any consolation prize.
I didn't see the damage. I thought he just gave up and pulled over. So all of our faith has to be placed on Gabe now. Yeah.
Gabe couldn't do it. Gabe dipped out of the booth. He could not handle the pressure.
I mean, if I had some, yo-yo like me yelling in my ear, I probably wouldn't be able to focus. It's a lot easier to talk back at 11th.
And I think when we say that the headlights are an advantage because you can see on the track and the taillights, I think you know firsthand that they are really a big handicap out there, because they seem to do nothing but hurt you throughout the entire
It did not help.
entirety of the
And
race.
when you got a headlight shining on the bumpers of the guys in front of you too, you really don't see the brake lights as much as you do up top, although you're really not braking, in the common sense where you brake just to slow down the car. You kind of trail brake to keep the speed down a little bit, but that experiment is complete, and we get to watch the professionals do the rest of this thing, as my car is very much done. I could get back out there if I waited 12 minutes on required repairs, but something tells me the race is not going to go 12 minutes.
I don't think it will either, and Trevin, you had an experience out there, and you were out due to some contact with somebody else, so I think we can all safely say that we need to stick to our day job, or night job, so to speak, because it's now almost midnight around here, so and continue commentating and not try to interfere with these races.
I think that's a fantastic idea. That was quite the experience I had with the three wide. I'd never done that before. I didn't know that was going to happen, but I had to find my place in line. And then after that, that was just a blast to be a part of that whole entire 4 wide, 5 wide ordeal off of the start. And then, just got loose, I think, or I got tapped. I'm not sure, but that was a lot of fun.
When we're back at it, and they're right back to the 4 wide, and somebody in 2 cars are headed down pit road. It's not the racetrack, at least I know that. Grayson's down there and Blaze are down there. They got hooked and wouldn't get off each other, and we stay underway. I'm just impressed Trevor the Direct somebody actually got hit. So at the end of the day, you can't give me an incident point or him an incident point. I'll call that a win as we see the battle for the race lead where Gabe Wood takes over control of the ship.
I'll take it.
Gabe is the lone survivor out of everybody who made an attempt to race this in the LSRTV crew, and he's actually doing a very, very good job leading the field over Charlie Melvin and Tyler Lugo Vickery. Jody Green trying to get in there on the action on the inside of that 24 machine as he's trying to get through there and make it 3 wide. It looks like he's trying to shoot the gap in the middle, but nobody's letting them. They keep shutting the door. Gabe Wood enjoying this as he sees the headlights, but he's slowly pulling away from him.
And he's in front of the big mess right here for second because the 13's on the inside of Green, Vickery is on the top side, and then Charlie Melvin right in the middle. Again, because you're hitting the rev limiter on these things, you're going basically 87 miles an hour around the track as soon as you get off of the corner till you get down to the next corner. So it's difficult to catch people. So Gabe Wood, I think out front right now, has a good chance of being able to stay clear of the mess behind him.
Absolutely. Gabe Wood pulling away, and 24 and 13 get a little bit of bump and run right there. That was very close call for them. I don't know if it's as easy to get these cars as sideways as it is with other cars, but we're seeing some fighting going on between the number 26 and the 1. Very, very intense as the 21 or the 24 goes down to the 1. 1 goes back up into the 4 and into that car above him.
Those cars just got obliterated. The 24 got tapped a little bit by the 1, and when he overcorrected it, a huge hit. Right where that kind of retractable wall is, it just stopped. The 24 Vickery at his tracks. Wilkinson got hit by the 7 a little bit after. I hear somebody dove down to the pit lane to avoid it as well. And another caution flag at lap number 14. Gonna bring out the red flag again.
It will, and it was just a crazy wreck. The smallest of contact really set that car spinning violently into the outside wall, Evan, and really ended the day for him very, very quickly. Now Gabe Wood has to stop and try to replicate everything he did on that last green flag run again.
He's got to try to do, and he was in a perfect spot, really, as you see everybody get set to line him back up 3 wide, because that fight for second is what I had in the middle of the pack the whole time. And you can't go anywhere. It's very difficult, and it's so chaotic. These cars really push when you go into the corner. It's hard to get them to rotate, and that's where that trail braking comes in. But the guys in second, yeah, they're chasing down Gabe Wood, but I bet they really didn't have a lot of focus dedicated to that guy up in front because you're too busy just, elbows up with the guys around you.
Yeah, these guys race very closely together. You're more concerned about the guy to your outside of the inside rather than the guy in front of you. So, you gotta avoid the guy in front or beside you and then worry about the guy in front of you later. You gotta get through that battle to get to another battle. So just take it one step at a time, and that's what I learned.
Over 3x3x3x3 once more, and we still have 10 laps. So you cars racing due up. Front row all the way on the inside is Gabe Wood. The middle is Charlie Melvin, and a 13 of Jody Green is on the outside. Here we come again. 15 down, 10 laps to go. What happens?
And it's still 3 wide for the lead, actually going down into turn 1. Gabe Wood trying to get it. Tommy Ryan, Kyle Leverall, the 83 making contact through there, spinning maybe towards the back. Did they keep it? Contact? No. Still spinning, still stuck down there at the bottom.
No caution though, still green.
Now still green as Jody Green tries to fade back on the 09 of Gabe Wood. Gabe Wood able to clear the 14 though, or the 13 and 14 though, and keep that lead.
And you can see the aggressive dives in, the 13 to the inside of the 14, and then the fight for 4th right behind the 3 of Porter to the inside of Milbachler, all over the bumper. The 1 gets on the brakes a little bit more, not appreciative of the constant shots, and those drivers are going to rub at turn number 4. So just because they aren't conventional oval cars doesn't mean they don't have the fenders to go at it. Milbachler door slam Porter on the front stretch on his way by. I think he wanted to get back to the bumper there, not close enough, but keep an eye on these two.
Absolutely getting a little bit dicey down there between that number 3 and number 1. Looking back up to the front, Gabriel Wood still out in front. 14 trying to cross over that number 13 to the bottom. Looking a little good into turn number 1. Might be able to clear him out of turn number 2. And he clears him before that, actually. Now the 13 looking at the bottom. Gives a little tap on the back end of him. Looking further back in the field. Still single filed out. And this is just fantastic racing up front as Gabriel Wood leads the pack.
He was talking about his championship lead. He is tied with Tommy Ryan in the championship in this U-Cars division. They have both been far out the best drivers, 20 point to the good over Ricky Harden, who's third at the overall standings. And Gabe qualified up front, ended up restarting in third by the time the running order was all adjusted by the same folks who thought it was a good idea to put me and Trevin in the middle of the pack, but we didn't do all that bad, and Gabe Wood's feeling good right now. 5/10 in front at 5 laps to go. Doesn't mean the fighting's over with, though. A good fight right here for second, about 4 cars in it.
Yeah, the fight for second still rages on. You see Charlie Melvin power back on the outside to Jody Green trying to stay there. And he really does. He's able to use that outside line to his advantage. Now Jody Green going to get the run off of turn number 4 with not that many laps to go here. Just about 3 laps to go, Evan, as now Jacob Porter, James Milbachler, and Brandon Wilkinson do battle just behind them. Gabe Wood, clear skies for him.
Yeah, that's the pair of those neon yellow cars a little bit further back behind Porter with Milbachler and Wilkinson. The Green and Melvin duo has pulled a little bit away to make it really just an exclusively 2-car fight for P2. But as time by, Popsicle 6 in the air for Gabe Wood. Clean track in front. No caution. Flag will fly as the red flag will come out, and we are not done. Jeff Grayson ended up on his lid, got turned by the 7 machine, and Gabe Wood's win now is no longer a guarantee.
Absolutely not. That was a wicked wreck, as we saw, with a driver up on his lid, but now we are going to get a restart, and it's going to be one heck of a restart as we only have a few laps to go. They are getting ready to rack them and stack them, and it's just going to be an absolute fight to the finish between these cars up here.
They're stomping it on the start-finish line. That'll tell me that it is going to be a 2-lap to go shootout this time by, which means we're only going to have 1 lap in this thing, Chris, but the time they come to turn 4.
Yeah, and that's going to be the hardest lap Gabe Wood has ever ran, Evan, because he's got to hold off the 13, the 14, and even hold off the 3, the 1, and anybody else that wants to throw their shot in there going into turn number 1. So he's got to make that car 3 lanes wide going off in the corner and try to hold everybody off for at least 1 turn and for at least a lap to get that win secured.
Here we go, final time. We come to a restart. 24 laps complete out of 25 on the board. Who's going to win this one as we come 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 for the final time? Gabe Wood on the inside of the white flag.
As we see Gabe Wood trying to edge out that number 14 into turn 1, coming down in front of that number 13. Very close contact. Many cars on the rumble strip. 14 diving below the number 09 of Gabriel Wood, trying to contact in the back, spinning
Tossed
around.
It up. Here we come for the race lead, side by side, not giving up. Charlie Melvin wants it. Gabe Wood, top side, contact to the line, and the winner is gonna be Gabe Wood. 3/100ths of a second to the checkered flag.
Huge damage to that 09 machine of Gabe Wood. Not going to be able to burn this one down at all because there is heavy smoke from that hard contact coming through the 14.
They came into turn 4. The 14 was at a little bit of a disadvantage. Trevin had what you would consider, I think, the inside and preferred position, but you don't get as good of a run on the inside off the corner as you do topside. And I mean, he did the only thing that he could do, and that was you give him a little bit of a rub and a bump, and it sent both those cars sideways. It doesn't make a difference in the end, though, as Wood hangs on.
Yeah, that top side all night long was very preferred, and it was just an absolute incredible battle for that final lap. Cars bumping and grinding everywhere, and it was just an amazing race. Great to be a part of it.
Gabe Wood ends up on top, and in an unconventional go at it. Let's take a look, as always, top to bottom at your LSRTV full race results for tonight's U-Cars Division main event. The driver who comes over to victory lane when it's all said and done is Gabe Wood. He hangs on over top of pole sitter Charlie Melvin, who comes home P2. Jacob Porter ends up third tonight. Jody Green is fourth, and James Milblockler rounds out your top five.
Sixth is going to go to Brandon Wilkinson. Seventh, Ricky Hart and Jeff Grayson going to be eighth. Tanner Cook, ninth, rounding out your top 10. The 7 of Kyle Leverett.
Starting 11th in the first one lap down, number 7 of Kyle Levert. Finishing 12th, Sean Cross. 13th, Randy Yoakum. 14th will be Tommy Ryan in the number 6 car, and the number 24 car, Tyler Lugo Vicarian, finishing 15th.
Continuing on through, Joshua King ends up in 16th position. Connor Blaze is 17th. Evan Pasoslo is 18th position. DJ Beverly 19th. Then Trevin Valderrama rounds out your top 20. It is a look top to bottom at your LSRTV full race results. I threw a joke in there. I jab at myself there.
You jabbed at yourself.
Well, and somebody we were talking with earlier who ends up winning this race is Gabe Wood. He decided to plug the mic back in. He'll deal with us in his ear only in victory lane. And he gets the win of this one, Gabe. Congratulations. You had a better night than I did. I'll give you that.
I think we had pretty much an equal night. I just kind of finished higher.
An interesting concept.
That was fun.
I didn't have half a car at the end. I mean, neither did you. To be fair, you just got wrecked at the end of the race. It was a good one, though. I think we were coming to 2 to go, and I was going to say something about popsicle sticks and to the home stretch, and there's a caution there on the back straightaway. At that point, what are you thinking, knowing that you're only going to get a one-lap restart?
Well, the way the first restart happened, I didn't get a good jump. You know, the guys on the outside, they can get a little bit better run because they're on the outside, and I was actually expecting to lose it, you know, and I almost did. All power to the 14 of Melvin. He did one heck of a job on the outside, or on the inside. I knew I should have blocked the lower lane, but I just drifted up trying to get the best run off of turn 2, and he ended up cutting it below me. I would have beat him to the line anyway, but I just wanted to make sure, so I started door banging, and it almost cost me.
At the end of it, you hang on when you're battling up front, especially on those restarts. It's that chaos that me and Trevin got to experience in the middle of the pack, and you know, everybody in a free-for-all and whatnot. But up front, there were points there where you were able to pull away, and it's difficult to get separation from folks. So how did you get that separation when you had it? And obviously, it gave you a big upper hand because they were fighting behind you and really couldn't chase you down.
I don't know, because I did that with my first win, I think about a month and a half ago. You know, I watched the U-Car race the week before that, where I didn't run, and everybody was kind of close together, and then I guess my driving style, I was just able to pull away then and pull away now, but I thought I'd lost it there for a second when he got to the inside of me in turn 4.
It's a win in the U-Cars division. It rounds out an exciting night of action, and we'll let you get out of here as with everybody else, but Gabe, anybody else you want to say hi to? What we got you?
I want to thank the guys over at the Drill Spill, you know, kind of new member over on the team. Want to thank everybody UNOH for watching me. Richard Regan, Colin Stevens, Chase Storch, anybody else, all those guys. I tell them to watch, and hopefully they do. I'll test them on tomorrow. But yeah, I'm happy. I mean, if I can win one series, that's okay. I won a race. I'm happy.
And I think based on my results tonight, we'll have to do this again at some point, but we left the professional driving to you. And if we start behind you, I think you'll be okay. And that was the case tonight. We didn't mess you up. Up front, fast car, and you padded that championship lead that you were talking about. So, Gabe, congrats on that.
Yeah, I don't need those cautions, Evan and Trevor.
We will see how many we may bring out down the line. I promise tonight it was not my fault.
This is for all those taking flight jokes from last week.
That's fair. And at the end of it all, you know, Chris, exciting night, you know, mixing it up and having fun. We always have fun with the U-Cars division regardless, but having a little bit of extra fun, you know, with us jumping into the cars tonight. We'll have to get you in at some point. But it was a challenging night. Don't think just because the U-Cars look ridiculously fun that they aren't difficult to drive, and a fantastic way to end it there with the 09 and the 14 fighting down to the end.
It really was, and at the beginning there, I didn't really know whether or not to focus on you guys. It was kind of all over the place. It was fun. nonetheless. And, I guess I will have to give my hand at it since you did it and maybe try to fare better than you did in that one. But, Gabe Wood, well-deserved victory. He really had to fight off that 14. And there was a lot of side-by-side battles and a lot of good contact. And you mentioned it, these might not be the conventional oval cars, but you can still beat and bang these things and get a great race out of them. So great racing night all night tonight, I guess.
And top to bottom, Trevor, not only the U cars at the end of the night, but we got to see Matt Cucker put on another strong performance, winning both the late model races and the Chargers and the straight stock. So it was a great night top to bottom, and thanks for joining us for this one.
Yeah, Matt Cucker, that was absolutely amazing by him, and I had an all-around fun night. I've been wanting to do the series for a while, so thank you guys for letting me be up here, and thanks for letting me race, show off my quote-unquote talent in a car tonight on the track.
Yeah, I'll put air quotes around talent, but I'm equally as guilty because we both finished a combined, looks like 42 laps down combined. So it was not our night at the end of it all, but the folks who do this week in and week out put on a show, and that wraps things up here tonight for the Myrtle Beach Speedway for week number 9. It doesn't wrap up the action of sim racing coverage this week on LSRTV and iRacing Live. Plenty still to come all the way through to the weekend. We'll be with you tomorrow night for the Upstate Racing League. That action with the Pro Late Model Series gets started at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The Super Speedway Cup Series is on this Friday at 9 o'clock Eastern. And on Saturday, as always, the United Sim Racing BNC Lawn and Landscape and LLC Truck Series at 10 o'clock. For those on the East Coast, you can get a look at our full and upcoming broadcast schedule online by going to livesimracing.com. But the best way to stay up to date with us to the minute is via social media. On Twitter, that's at LSRTV. And on Facebook, it's at facebook.com/LSRTV official. So until next time, on behalf of the entire team at Live Sim Racing LLC, the folks behind the scenes, Laura Lawson, DJ Lyon, and everybody who makes it happen topside in the booth and in the trailer night in and night out. And of course, for your team tonight, for myself, Evan Pasoko, Chris Murdoch, Trevin Valderrama, Cisco Scaramuza, I want to thank you for tuning in and congratulate all your race winners tonight, but especially Matt Cucker, 4 wins on the night. His first week win, if you will, since 2 months ago. And the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series is far from over. The Championship Esports Association is keeping it locked, and we will be back with you back in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina in no more than a week on Wednesday nights. That race, though, and every race on this 2017-2018 Myrtle Beach Simulation Series, presented by the Championship Esports Association, can always be found right here at LSRTV and iRacing Live, your home for sim racing. Until next time, though, good night.